boy, oh boy, does the anxiety level get high when I hover that start streaming button. Been a while. It has been a while. I know that we were supposed to have a bunch of streams in August. Okay. I do apologize for that. There was a really interesting opportunity work-wise that I wanted to really throw myself at pursuing. So that's what I've more or less been up to, that and just being chilling. Yeah, I honestly, if I'm being honest with you, okay, because you are one of the lovely VOD people, the 100% honest truth, I could have streamed, but I didn't, okay? I'm a bad boy. I could have been streaming this whole time, and I chose not to. Yeah. I got to be more honest about that stuff, okay? There are legitimate reasons why there were other distractions, but that's not to say that it would have been impossible to stream at the same time, okay? Anywho, there's been some stuff that I have sunk hours into watching, such as this, Darius and his dog and Melina, and apparently there's some Mr. Girl thing where he's upset about Nick Fuentes and thinks he should be called a Nazi, and of course Steven doesn't think that, so... there's a bunch of stuff going on. I haven't watched any of the Mr. Girl Destiny stuff because if I'm going to do that, I'm not going to do that in my free time because I just really don't enjoy it. To give you a TLDR of that, and I understand a bunch of you guys are Mr. Girl fans, and that's totally fine because I can understand the reasons why you like him, and they're not, enough for me to get over disliking him. The reason I don't watch him is because a lot of the way that I view conversations and how well you are at them is like, it has to be constructive. So like over time, there should be increasing like complexity or changes in the conversation reflected on both sides of it. So like if I say A, B, C, and you say A, subpoint A, subpoint B, D, we're adding in variables. We're kind of building on things the other person had said, right? I like a conversation to kind of grow, and most conversations and conversationalists do naturally like grow over time. They're asking new questions that are getting to new things, and they're creating new points, and perhaps the other person has changed the way that they're discussing a topic, right? I don't feel that a lot of the time in Mr. Girl conversations, and if it is happening, it's way less than it would with like a Destiny conversation or even a Vosh conversation or things like this, right? So if the conversation isn't evolving, if the people aren't changing per the additions that other people are making in the conversation, then it's really, really boring to me. And in my personal life, those conversations are very frustrating to me. So like if I'm asking questions and I'm not getting answers, or if you repeat yourself a lot, like that's all going to be stuff that makes the conversation really, really boring or frustrating to me personally. And that's also reflected in how I consume those types of conversations. So I haven't watched the Mr. Girl stuff, but I did watch a lot of the Darius stuff. And boy, oh boy, yeah, there's a lot of repetition stuff in there, but it's interesting because we get a few nuggets of like new information along the way from both people that like radically change the way that you interpret the events, and it grows over time. So that's at least been like somewhat fun to watch, although, I should probably be spending my time on other things, frankly, but it's my job. So getting back into my job and coming off of hiatus, that's what we'll be covering. I'll be accepting any kinds of call-ins today on any topic. So whether you want to talk about Darius's dog or Melina, or, Mr. Girl or some other take, I would be happy to have you on and talk with you about it. And I figured that's a good like icebreaker. That way I'm not alone doing today's stream, because if I was, I probably would just skip out on doing the stream altogether and wait until I had something interesting to say about some interesting topic. But that hasn't really come about in the last couple of weeks. So that's the plan, Stan. I'm going to play a new track from PictoChat. This one is titled Headphones. This will be the first time it's played on the channel. I hope you enjoy it, and I will talk to you as soon as it's done. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Thank you for the support of the channel. Thanks for clicking on this. I know I haven't been around in a while. It's very easy to fall off, and then people hate you for not streaming and yada, 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 So I thank you for hanging out and staying with me through it, and I will talk to you in a bit. Well, that was an interesting new track from Picto Chat. Again, you can get their information by doing !Picto. You can spell that with an O or a 0 in either of the chats. Get their information, check out their Spotify, or I guess this is SoundCloud. I have a few different people in the Discord that say that they're willing to do call-ins. I suppose that we'll start by kind of just jumping in and catching up a little bit, ease into it a little bit. Hello, how are you doing? I am here. I exist. How about that? Much to the chagrin of some people on the internet. Yeah, I've had a lot of personal stuff going on behind the scenes, a lot of personal talks going on with some people, both like present friends and past friends, and yeah, I've been having a little bit of personal development and realizations. Ideally, this is the ideal. The ideal is I get a job that pays like decent money to where I won't have to do anything else, like no commissioned work or anything like that, or worrying about Twitch. And then I just stream for fun. You know, the thing with stream is it turning into a job kind of put like a timer on it for when I would get over it. And I personally think that timer started ringing like a while ago, and I've just been hitting snooze on it over and over, and it impacts like how I come off on the stream. I think it might be part of the reason why a lot of people dislike me, and there's like constant negative posts about me. And that's not to like copium out and say that it's not the things I'm doing or the things I'm saying or the person that I am. The fact is that like the person that I am is very multifaceted. There are parts of people that you're not going to like, and if you're constantly showing people the parts of you that they're probably not going to like, they're going to think you're a very unlikable person. Speaking with some friends in private, a lot of the things they like about me don't make it onto the stream, and I think a lot of the things that could be fun about me on stream don't make it onto the stream, like when I play video games and stuff. So yeah, I mean, there's just been a lot of thinking on my part, and I haven't reached conclusions on anything, which is very unsatisfactory for me, and I'm sure you. But that's just kind of where I'm at. I just really hope that I can get the job so that this can just be a for fun thing for me, because I think it's a lot easier to make the right decisions when it's a for fun thing. One thing that I saw on Twitter today that kind of supports that idea from me is I think he works at Nintendo. The guy that is like intimately involved with Super Smash Brothers and its development and stuff, he pays out of pocket for like this whole internet show that he does about game development and whatever, and he doesn't want to make any money off of it because he just wants to like purely focus on doing the thing. And the channel has always been about doing stuff that frankly will not in any like reasonable time span be profitable or popular, like trying to be empathetic, trying to like beat our animalistic instincts and our adult instincts to care only about ourselves and to fuck everybody else and be hedonistic and all this other stuff. It's not a recipe for success in the first place, and trying to like shoehorn it into being that is just going to make me unhappy and you guys unhappy, and it just is what it is. Are you still in TJ? No, thank God. In case you didn't know, Tijuana in Mexico is going through a hell of a time. The Mexican police ended up capturing a leader of a cartel, and that cartel basically is destroying Tijuana in retaliation, and they want that guy freed. And so they're shooting random people in the streets, and they're telling the civilians that there needs to be a cartel backed curfew where everybody needs to stay inside because they're just going to kill people on the streets and do violence and whatever. So Tijuana has really blown up, and it's very sad to see. It's sad to see some places that like I know personally and I've been to with like dead people on the floor, or that are shot up or blown up or on fire. Very, very sad for the people of Tijuana. There has been a lot of chatter in the chat, so I will try to go through and catch up with all of it. The Booksmart surprise streams make my fucking day, and I know this won't be a banger. I don't know if it'll be a banger. I don't know how you know it'll be a banger, but I'm happy that it has surprised you in a good way. Mr. Girl does not agree with that at all. Mr. Girl's beliefs as far as how discussions go is so different than anyone else's. He's argued with so many people on stream about why he's not even willing to try to be persuasive. He views acts of tempering his rhetoric as neutering his message, feelings, and in some ways even manipulative. Maybe. I don't think anything that I'm talking about even gets close to being like rhetorically sound or even manipulative, but that's whatever. It's whatever. The temptation to talk about other things that I've watched in the last few days, but I won't do it. Mr. Girl is also really annoying because he always believes his opponent is acting in bad faith. I don't know, bro. Honestly, like it's just so rough to talk about people. And I know today we're going to talk about people, and I'm mostly going to talk about like my views on what's happening as opposed to like my view on people. I think that there's a very fine line to walk there where you're talking about your opinions about situations, but not your opinions about the person themselves. I feel like we did a really good job at that when I started streaming, and I was trying to be like really, really careful and friends with everybody. And it's really, really hard to do. It's very, very easy to just instead start shitting on the person or sucking off a person. And I think that just because it's easier to do the other thing and it's more financially beneficial doesn't mean I should do it. I think that more of us need to choose to do the hard thing in life and tackle the hard things. And one of those hard things is like not talking shit about people. Like in this Darius situation, it would be very easy to talk shit about Darius and his life decisions and him as a person, and then use that to influence all the other things you say about him. And you could do it on the flip side for Melina, that, oh, well, we keep getting these situations where she's seeming to act one way and she's doing these other things that are mentally fucking people or what, like, and you could do it with Mr. Girl. You could do it about his conversations, and he's an empathy guy, but he doesn't ever seem to be empathetic in any way that any regular person would appreciate. Or recognize as being empathetic. But like, and to be clear, I'm not saying I believe or don't believe any of those things. I'm just like giving examples of what I'm talking about versus these examples, which are going to be what I think that would be better. Like, I think it's better to talk about like, well, what do people mean when they're talking about this dog situation? In case you didn't know, this guy online, Darius, he has, he got this puppy dog, and the puppy dog, within days of getting it, gets very, very sick and requires like a multi-$1,000 treatment for it being sick. And then months later, it gets another illness, and it's going to be like into the 5 digits of cost for the treatment for the dog in total. And I think a lot of people, even if they love their pets, even if they love their dogs, I think that there's what people would consider a responsible and mature decision, which is that, like, especially if you're early on in the relationship with the dog, you kind of have to accept the idea of like putting them down as opposed to like putting yourself into financial trouble by doing that. And just because you have the money on the side doesn't mean that you're not in financial trouble by spending that money on the dog, right? Like that dog needing thousands of dollars of care within days of getting it. I think for a lot of practical everyday people, like the family that I come from would certainly be like that, would consider that like a poor financial decision. And one sad thing that I heard a lot of people bringing up to Darius in the call about this, like when you get a dog, you have to accept as an adult that you might have to make that decision about the dog. If financial obligations come for the dog, you kind of have to go on the side of killing it. But like, he says he accepts that, and he says that like, I was definitely ready to do that because I was ready to do that in the final situation where I didn't have the money to pay for it. But that's not really all of what people are talking about when they say that. What they talk about when they're saying that is not once your back is against the wall and the dog is going to either suffer for the rest of its short life or die, or you can't afford the surgery, so you euthanize it there and then. They're not talking about being in that situation and making the decision to euthanize it. At least I don't think that encompasses all of what they're talking about. I think part of what they're talking about as well is not making a poor financial decision even if you could, to save the dog. I think that is the much more difficult decision, is like, well, technically I could get the funds to do this, or technically I could swing a few grand on a brand new dog to do that. I think that they also mean in those situations, you have to be willing to make that decision. And here's a difference in values. If you super duper value the dog and you go full out with like loving the dog, you're not going to make that decision, and you probably don't think that that's an adult decision. You probably think that's like not a good decision to make, that even if you had the money or could get the money, that you're still making the decision to euthanize it. But at least for me personally, my personal beliefs, if I got a brand new dog and that dog needed that level of care so early, from my perspective, the responsible decision is to put the dog down. Because like, even if I can swing it, I don't think it's the responsible decision to swing it, but that would be for me personally in my situation. And it's the same way with us and our dogs. I don't know if maybe the stream is behind on YouTube. To read what Mr. Thick said, from what I understand, Darius was 100% willing to kill the dog. But see, here's the thing. I don't think the willingness again, this is what I may not have communicated it well. When I'm saying that we're missing something when we're talking about it this way, what we're missing is, it's not really a choice at that point. If you cannot afford it, your options are you continue to let the dog suffer, or you euthanize it, because you don't have another option. So Darius being 100% willing to kill the dog when he could not afford the alternative, and the only other alternative is to let it suffer, which is inhumane and awful. That doesn't really mean anything in terms of what we're talking about. At least like from my perspective, I could be very wrong, but for me, I don't think willing to kill the dog is any like measure of import at the stage where you don't have an alternative. I think where that's important is when it's between like putting yourself or other people through financial hardship, or like going out of your way to like collect funds for it, or making the decision. Like, it's when there's actually an option. If the option is between letting it suffer until it finally passes away naturally, or euthanizing it, that's a very different decision than like, I could afford it, but it's probably not a smart financial decision, or I'll have to fucking GoFundMe it. I think that that's, at least for me, what I'm thinking about and I'm talking about as the more difficult ask of people, that I think is the more mature thing to expect of pet owners. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. And let me know if you understand what I'm saying, because I understand what you're saying, because this is the point that keeps getting repeated. Like, I understand this point that he was willing, but like, I don't find the willingness that important when he doesn't have an alternative. I think the willingness needs to come when you have the alternative, but it's not a smart financial decision. So yeah, I don't know. What is this, RTBA? I could fucking cry. If I lost her, I legit don't know what headspace I'd be in. Yeah, like, it has nothing to do with being attached to animals. Update. Okay, I don't know what this is meant to convey to me, but maybe I'm, divergent. I see that what is being discussed is suspended by the Twitch landscape, a holdover conversation about animal abuse. Weird time to tune in. I'm out. Okay. If you can't afford it, you just have to put it down. It's hard, but that's the truth. Yeah, and I don't find that to be the interesting conversation. Because the conversation between euthanizing it or letting it suffer until it dies, like, I don't find that to be interesting at all. I think the more interesting thing and the more difficult thing is like having to make the choice to euthanize it when you could probably financially swing it. Like with our present dog, and our past dogs, like our present dog has heart problems. If it needs surgery, that's multiple thousands of dollars to pay for it. Us as a family, we could probably get together and put the funds together to do it. Our dog is old. If it's not going to be that problem, it's probably going to be another problem. We've had a good run with him. He's been alive a while. I think accepting putting him down when it comes down to it and his body is failing him, that is the more difficult decision. And at least from my life and my perspective, that's the decision that we would be talking about when we're talking about being ready and willing to do something like that. It's when you have an alternative, not when the choice is between let it suffer or euthanize it. That's a very different situation. I can keep repeating that a dozen times because I just don't see it reflected in the chat. When I'm talking about it, which again gets back to the conversation thing. Like, what I find interesting is when you say something and then people bounce off of it. I know what you guys are saying because it's been the whole conversation. I'm trying to like bring it to a different place, and if I can get you there, that's cool. But if not, whatever. If you can't afford it, you just have to put it down. Yeah, exactly. I will try to rewatch this a few times. I find it hard to understand your distinction. Okay, I'm opening paint. I feel like that is my only thing I can do. Because I do find it interesting, because I am having a hard time getting people to understand this already. Maybe it's worth doing paint. Boop, 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 boop. All right, let's see if my paint is actually working. Okay, it is. Wunderbar. Let's go ahead and switch scenes here a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. All right. How are we looking here? Looks like it's more or less calibrated the right way, so it should be good. Okay, so the situation you guys are talking about is that you euthanize, right? That we either... Oh, okay. We still have those problems with the sensitivity. Nice. How am I going to deal with that? I can make the brush smaller and zoom out, maybe. Oh. Okay. Our monitor isn't quite set up properly either because I'm on a new setup. Oh, well. I'll just have to keep track of where we are and stuff. Man, what is up with this? I know it's been doing this lately. I'm going to edit my tablet settings just real quick because that's going to trigger me, and I'd rather not be triggered on my return stream. I think this is it. Let's go ahead and go to pen settings. We'll lower this, and then we'll see how that feels. Okay, I think this is better. So we have, it's not better. Okay, whatever. Oh man, that sucks. I would honestly rather use the mouse at this point. How do I fix this? I don't know. I'm having this problem where it's taking a lot of pressure to register, and it's not registering until like after I've already written for a bit. I'll just have to write big, I guess. So we have the difference between and you can see that my lines are starting like after I want them to. We have the distinction between we either euthanize it or we let it suffer, or it suffers, right? And that's where we're at now. And you're saying, Darius, our man, he picks this one. Great, cool. I think that this suffer thing is so unbelievably awful to do that I don't find it very interesting that a person made the decision to euthanize over letting the dog suffer. I think that would be like a pretty awful person or decision to allow the dog to suffer over euthanize. And for that reason, I don't think that's very interesting to talk about. What I find interesting to talk about, oops. Let's go back to where we were. Is when we're talking about euthanizing or how do I write this out? So you don't have a third option here, okay? So we have suffers, right? We could let it euthanize, we could let it suffer, or we have a third option here, or we could pay. Or we could pay for expensive surgery. This, I find, to be a way more complicated situation to be in. So you could pay for the expensive surgery And then you have some other things that you might want to factor into this decision over here, right? You have some interesting variables like how long have you owned the dog? How much is the surgery versus your income, right? You have a lot of other things to consider. And for that reason, this is a decision tree where you have these 3 different decisions that I find to be what I would want to talk about. So you could try to GoFundMe and whatever for a dog that you've owned for a few months. You could fork over the $3,000 for a dog that you've adopted from the pound days after getting it. Or you make a difficult but probably more mature decision to put the dog down or to give the dog back, and you get another dog. And that's a way harder decision to make. And I feel like that is the more interesting one to talk about, because I feel like that is the more difficult decision. I get that a lot of you are here, but, you know, I think that, like, when we're talking about Melina's opinion or Steven's opinion, I feel like they're considering this third one here, but they don't make that explicit, right? It's not between whether we euthanize it or let it suffer. It's between, do we try to pay for this and go fund it or spend thousands of dollars on a dog that we just barely got and we don't really have a relationship with? Or in my case, do we spend this money on a dog that we've had for like 11 years who is near the end of his life and has a bunch of other problems coming up anyways? Or do we let it live until it's getting into the suffer point and then euthanize it, right? I think that's a way harder decision to make. Now, I'm going to go to the chat. I'm going to switch over here and I'll try and talk with you guys about this. And I'll read the chat because I haven't been this whole time because I have to get my point across. Personally, I think the dog should have died. Sorry to not be TOS friendly, but I just don't like dogs. Okay, well, then you're going to have that opinion. In DGG chat, he's saying it's nothing to do with being attached to animals, but on his tweet, he's saying he would struggle to cope if he had to put the dog down. Yeah, I suppose that's an inconsistency. I know what you mean, Bookie. I'm happy you do. So the important question isn't whether you need to kill something or not afford surgery and just have it suffer and die. Yeah, I don't think that's like an important question because I feel like that's rough. But you think choosing between putting it down and having the funds to save it, but being financially rocky, you should choose for financial stability? Yes. I think that's the mature decision to make because you probably shouldn't be putting yourself in a financial jeopardy over the animal. And this isn't the first time that I have been put in a situation with another content creator where I had to like kind of make this choice in my head. My problem is that even after he got the money, he was going to keep the dog after the surgery. If you already don't have the money, you need to find the dog a new home that can take care of them. That's another very interesting thing to suggest. Although I think there would be a lot of people that would think that if you put that money into the dog because of sunken costs, you should probably keep the dog. I think if you're at the point where you're going to save the dog and give it to a new home, you should probably just not save the dog. But that's just me. And we are where we are. He's already paid to help the dog. And all of this is difficult because it's Darius and his fucking dog. This is like a very personal thing, right? It is always going to feel shitty if you're making some judgment on a dude about like the relationship between him and his dog, right? Like what comes to the forefront of my mind, for instance, is like I'm really important in his dog, right? Like we're all going to have different relationships with animals and different ideas of like what we're willing to do and what we're not willing to do. I feel like IRI gave up like a lot of his like life and energy and time and money into his dog near the end of its life. And I would feel really shitty telling IRI that's not like a financially smart decision or something, or it's not the decision that I would make, right? It's a lot easier with Darius because Darius makes other life decisions that are, you know, not great in terms of finances from the outside perspective. We don't really know what he's got going on, so it's tough to say. Whereas like with IRI, it is an old dog. It's not a new dog. You know, he presumably had the money to do it. Makes perfect sense, but I think a lot of people came into the story without full context. Perhaps. Chat, Booksmarts is basically saying Darius isn't mature for doing the, if I can manage to raise the money from GoFundMe, I'll pay for the surgery, but if not, I'll let it go. I mean, it's tough because, you know, I don't know. Darius would be mature for accepting even if Train gave him the money for 5 more surgeries, it still wouldn't be responsible. Yeah. What happens if another health emergency comes up? You're in the same situation. I believe morally you need to find a new home for the dog. Sure. But as he mentioned, the vet told them there shouldn't be any other issues with the dog. And I've heard some people talk about the parvo, whatever thing that it had in the first place, it probably shouldn't have had, but whatever. I don't understand this drama. Rewind. After he's gonna do that, right? I heard the idea floated that he was gonna try to find a new home, but I don't really know. A lot of that is unclear for me. Aftercare and future surgery correction such possibilities is also a factor. Well, from what he said, it sounds like the vet isn't implying that that's going to be a factor here. I empathize with Darius, and I know it sucks, but sometimes the right thing to do hurts. Yeah, true. You can still euthanize after it gets more problems. That isn't certain. It might be fine after. Yeah, that's another point, is like, if you don't go the route of finding a new home and it has another problem, then there you go. Does pay for expensive surgery even factor in if Darius didn't have the funds and that wasn't an option? Making a GoFundMe seems completely separate from that. I didn't understand this when I read it. Let me try again. Does pay for expensive surgery even factor in if Darius didn't have the funds and that wasn't an option? Well, that's why we talked about A versus B, because he was in a different situation after he got the funds. That's why they're different situations. So the answer is no, but that's why we had 2 situations here. I agree. The nuanced, more complex conversation is more interesting. I'm happy you do. 6 to 8K for a surgery isn't financially rocky. Who has like 6 to 10K for medical expenses in general in America? Yeah, it's a lot, and it's for a dog that you've known for a few months. So I don't know. Another thing that I will say that may not apply to Darius at all, but let me float it to you, okay? Let me float it to you. And I don't mean that I'm saying something negative about Darius, but it is something that comes up on my mind, is sometimes people that are in not so great situations, a pet is a good way of alleviating some of the stress about that. It's a good like emotional support. And it's totally understandable. But the problem is that emotional support and stuff can make the dog or the animal a kind of crutch that if it's knocked out from under you and you feel the need to ruin your life further to try and keep the emotional crutch without really seeing from the outside third person view what's going on with that situation, it's actually probably hurting your mental more than it's helping you. But it's tough to tell somebody that when like they don't know what headspace they would be in if they had to get rid of the dog. And the advice in the first place might be to not use animals as a mental crutch and an emotional crutch. But it's tough to tell somebody that when they're already doing it, you know, and they might disagree that that's even what's going on, which is why I won't say that's for sure what's going on with Darius. But you know, that's another thing I would keep in mind personally, how like I would judge a situation like this with a friend. What do you think about all of the millionaires laughing at Darius for being poor and basically saying, lol, sorry, your dog is going to die, idiot, lol. Yeah, I think you can be very mean about this, and I don't want to be super mean about this. Even what I'm saying, the nuts and bolts of it can be very mean. So if you lean into it and you're an even bigger asshole about it, then this is what I'm talking about with like the empathy thing. Like, I think there's ways of getting across your points where you can try to be as understanding as possible, and there's being an asshole. And being an asshole is fun. It's easy. It's easy to laugh at Darius. That you think he is like somebody who will constantly make poor financial and life decisions and it'll keep fucking him. And it's like, you know, watching some kind of like Mr. Magoo thing. And then you can be a dick about it because who cares? He's a streamer. He's not your friend. You don't know who he is. He's like a soap opera character to you. But the fact is that we're not soap opera characters. We're very real people. And this stuff hurts us to read and to see, especially if it's coming from a friend. And I wish, like, I can understand why Melina said what she said in the chat and probably didn't think it was like all that big of a deal. And she could probably still think that even after hearing Darius out. But I think at some level, it was a little bit disappointing to not hear like a genuine, like, okay, yeah, like if I could go back and do it again, I wouldn't do that. I understand how it made you feel. I didn't really think it would make you feel that way at the time. And yeah, misstep on my part with hindsight. I wouldn't have done it, right? Because I have lots of those, you know, all the time where I said something I thought was innocuous and it wasn't. And I would go back and I would change it for the sake of like a friend or like somebody that I knew or somebody that at the least I didn't want to hurt, you know? So, you know, and it didn't make a difference in how he perceived anything or how he approached the situation. So if you knew consequentially it wasn't going to make a difference to give him the hard truth, and you now know that with the benefit of hindsight, maybe you would go back and take it back. But I didn't really hear that from the conversations I saw. The only time she really got to that point, it seemed like it was just a concession to make the whole thing end. And it didn't seem super genuine. There's also sometimes, rarely, an option for a very nice and able to get care, I'm not reading that. That's awful. Hi, Darius. Oh, is Darius here? What's up, Darius? 6 to 8K. Oh, okay. Oh, that was Darius that I read earlier. Darius, if you want to come on and talk about this, by the way, I would be down. It's, you know, because the big thing is like, I don't want to be mean, and I don't want to upset you, and I'm happy that things worked out for you and you have the dog, right? And it's very, very lucky that Trainwrecks helped you in that situation. And I swear to God, like, hand on my heart, I hope nothing else happens with the dog. I hope that you can laugh at everybody and that nothing else happens and you just had a really rough period at the beginning and you're able to live a long life with this dog. And at the end of it, you can be like, damn, we had a special connection because of all of the investment I put into this dog at the beginning of its life, and it worked out, and it's almost like it was meant to be. That's how I hope this works out, because that would be like the best thing for you. You know, and it just sucks that a lot of the way that people are trying to get the message to you about responsibility and stuff comes off really dickish and judgy. When I don't feel like it needs to be that dickish and judgy. And then when they come off as dickish and judgy and you point it out, it doesn't seem like a lot of people are down to, like, I don't know, recognize that or walk it back a little bit, for a variety of reasons, I'm sure. But what's the N in Melina? When I put ampersand, it doesn't look very good in the font because it's not chalkboardy. So I just put Darius and Melina. I don't really see the issue if you ask for money and people freely give it and it results in being able to save the dog, to be honest. I'd understand the maturity angle if he was using his own money. Well, he used his own money before. If he had his money for this surgery, I can almost guarantee you he would have done the surgery. I think that's part of it. And for some people, especially with the crowdfunding stuff we've seen with Keffels, I understand there's other problems with that crowdfunding. I am aware. Okay, just making a comparison. Little comparison. Give it to me. I think that when you're spending other people's money on a decision that at base people don't think is financially responsible, then it can add insult to injury for a lot of people and actually make the situation worse. So I think that's part of the problem with how some people are viewing it. How are you always wrong? Actually impressive. I don't know, bro. Thanks for the membership, Neanderthals. Good to have you.
Glad you're back.
I'm happy to be back for now. We'll see. When the mean comments start rolling in the Reddit post for some stupid thing that I've said, perhaps even in the stream, then I'm sure I will regret it. But for now, it's fine. But if he's leveraging connections and not manipulating people that don't have the money to give, I think it's perfectly mature to ask for help. And that's fine. Everybody's going to have their different positions on it. I can understand the people that don't care about that point that you just gave me. You know, and I would say that some people may also think that, like, it's impossible not to manipulate people in this situation too. So it'll depend on what people believe. That's not what I believe, but they, you're going to struggle with some other people with a different perspective for very different, ways that they look at the situation at base. Let's see here. Oh, Darius has been DMing me. Yes, I've seen most of the video. I'll call Darius right now. He's crying. Call Darius. He's crying. Put out.
I need like 5 minutes. Be right back.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Let me read this other thing real quick while Darius is gone. Sorry, my nails are long. I said I was going to buy nail clippers. I bought them today. Or no, I didn't buy them today. I'm lying to you. I'm going to buy them tomorrow. Let me read something real quick. Okay, let me take notes. You know who you are. I am reading your DM right now. I've seen something. Okay. 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 We're just waiting for Darius to come back, basically. I'm just keeping myself entertained until then. Let's go to the chat here. Hi, Books, I sent you an email. When did you send it? If I didn't reply, I am sorry. I would send a follow-up email in the thread to put it at the top. Can you articulate Darius's poor person thinking in a more empathetic way? I'm literally unable to do this, and I need to... We'll do that when Darius comes back, because I don't want to say something and then Darius isn't here to push back on it for being too mean. Oh, geez. Again, we're just waiting on Darius. Let me keep going through this. Yeah, in terms of the poor person thinking, I'll write that down and we'll kind of go through with Darius. Although that's a very dickish thing to say. I do feel like I get it. The VOD got DMCA'd, but Darius yelling "kill yourself" to Melina over and over was wild. Yeah, this is going to be an old school thing from the channel that we talked about a lot, but and we've had to talk about in the Discord numerous times. The point at which a conversation goes really, really bad, becomes notably worse, is often when people get really, really emotional at each other, and then it comes off in the way that they're engaging. You can be emotional and keep a fucking lid on it, right? At the same time. That's not to say you should keep a lid on your emotions all the time for perpetuity, right? That's toxic as fuck. But there is something to be said of in the moment to control it. There's this litany of fear in Dune. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. And here, I'll just look it up. I think if you have exercises to kind of keep yourself under control, that's going to be one of the techniques as like a human being I would encourage that you learn to navigate life, right? And it could be for all sorts of things, aggression, fear, whatever. The litany of the litany against fear is this like mantra that you tell yourself when you're getting fearful, and it's from this book that I'm reading, and it goes, I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. And you repeat this to yourself when you're feeling afraid. You let the fear wash over you. It's a natural thing. It'll happen. But that fight or flight response that you'll get into literally shuts down your cognitive thinking. So when fear is happening, you have to not let it impact your actions. You have to let it wash over you and get really good at recognizing that it will end, and wait until it ends before you start making critical decisions. And you have to realize it's happening and get into that state of mind as quick as possible. And I think it's a similar thing when you're getting aggro. Take a few seconds, breathe, let it pass through you. And if you can't do that, which not everybody will be able to do that immediately, then you might have to disengage. You might have to like make other difficult decisions. And I think a lot of us might think that we have to continue engaging, but I think a lot of the time we don't. But let me see.
Okay, hello.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. Okay, so what's I don't understand because I'm getting told like mixed things. Am I okay? So are you trying to say like I am wrong for posting the GoFundMe, or like it is like wrong for me to post the GoFundMe or not?
So all I'm trying to do to clarify before I answer that like directly is like I'm just trying to go through what different people are saying in like a non-assholey way to give like a spectrum of like why people are saying what they're saying and why they might believe what they believe, and like demonstrate that spectrum. For me personally, I think if you can do a GoFundMe and you can make it happen, that's fine. Like you're leveraging what you can do as a content creator and the reach that you have. And even if I disagree with the financial decision itself, if you can do it off of the backs of people that want to support you, I'm a big capitalist guy. I'm a big like crowdfunding guy. If you can do it, I think it's fine.
Would you agree if I did it again? Like, let's say another surgery is needed in 3 months and I decided to do another GoFundMe. Would you be okay with doing it again?
No, at that point I would start feeling iffy on it. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
so then the actual thing only applies if it's once, for what you're trying to say. So like if I was asking for, if I was asking for help in an emergency situation once, it seems like I'm more asking for help rather than just like asking for a provider. Whereas because if I was trying to do it every 3 months or every time there's a surgery, I'm doing GoFundMe. It's not that I'm asking for help. I'm more asking for like, I guess like a support system or something.
Yeah, you're basically like crowdfunding the responsibility to take care of your dog. And I think that would be, which is why I think some people are saying that your next immediate goal should be to like find a new home for the dog.
Yeah.
But if you said the vet said that there's not going to be any other problems and stuff, and you take good care of the dog, then I don't know about that, but
yeah, like the whole issue with that should have been fixed during when we were getting her parvo surgery like 3-4 months ago. Apparently, it's an issue that was existing since then that should have been fixed. That again, like it's from what, like I said, what they said is that it'll be okay. So I think I'll be fine. But I mean, if something does come up, I hopefully want to be in a more financial decision. If my finances aren't good, like I don't know if you know the context of like everything or the reason why I even had to fucking beg, but some like fucking loser, terminally online stalker like got me fucking fired from my job prior. So like me losing my job wasn't something I could have even predicted. Like I literally just got perma. I live in Arizona, so it's like a higher terminate on site. Um, terminated on site state. So
Mm.
as soon as like something came up that was a little weird, they went ahead and like fired me. So
Eesh.
got fucked there. And then like on top of that, I had a whole bunch of shit with my mom. Me and Sushi were like rocky and having issues. And then that Melina shit was like actually fucking depressing because she was like my best friend, and then like she kind of just abandoned me to do sex, drugs, travel, and that kind of fucking sucked. So yeah, so like the whole time period was like pretty emotional for me. So yeah, I was like, yeah, I just felt like if I lost my dog, it was gonna be a pretty hard time, especially since I was losing so much in my life. Um, yeah. So okay, so it seems like you relatively agree with me. So, do we have a disagreement or something? I don't understand why people were
Um,
saying you're retarded in DGG.
people were saying I was retarded in DGG. You said.
Yeah, being retarded, yeah. So like,
Um,
is there something?
they just don't like me. So I mean, like, they're probably gonna say that regardless of what I say. So that's yeah. They really hate me. Which, I mean,
Gotcha.
sounds like they're getting to a point of not liking you either, Darius.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, like I do like dumb shit, whatever, and I guess I get that attention to myself. But I think I try to, I don't know. I think I'd make it just purely a character, and that's like
Mm.
my whole shenanigans is that I'm just like a character. But a lot of people do not get that. A lot of people do not get that going in. So, uh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Actually, that is something I disagree with. So I understand that you can play up certain aspects of your personality to be a character on Twitch. I totally get that. But I think that there are kernels of truth in it, and that people can make judgments about you beyond just what is
Wait,
strictly the act. Yeah.
can you mute real quick?
Can I mute real quick?
Yeah.
Sure. Mute you?
Your stream.
I can. Okay, it is muted. Yeah, I just ended it.
I was just trying to not pause other people. Yeah, you can go on. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I think that there are actions and things independent of like your act you put on stream that could lead people to think these things about you. Like, I don't watch too much of your streams, but like I can understand where people are coming from just on like real life decisions you've made, like even with this dog situation or your relationship and the details around that, or how you handled this fighting with Melina. Like, I feel like all of that can contribute to this belief, and I don't even watch a lot of the streams.
Yeah, no, well, it's mostly like a lot of the stuff that contributed to this belief was stuff that I've done on stream. Like when I talk about how I'm getting sued and I thought it was like a DoorDash driver. I'm talking about how I tried to work like 4 jobs and made like 400K, and I was like making a bunch of money. It's like outrageously like retarded shit that I would just say I'm doing. How like I tattooed myself. Okay, I actually did do that, but like, it's like I obviously like go these things like joking. I mean, like tattoo thing isn't a joke because there actually is a tattoo on my body, but like I can get it covered up anytime. I understand this stuff. I understand it's permanent, whatever, blah 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 blah. And like the other shit, like it's all just like fucking dumb memes. Um,
Okay, but do you think like part of the reason why you can do the dumb memes and you're good at them is because there is some kernel of like dumbness or craziness in the way that you act?
um, in real life, I don't. I mean, like I don't think so. So like with even like the suing thing. So like the thing is like when I saw the guy originally outside of my door, I thought it was a DoorDash driver. So like what I thought in my head was like, oh, that was funny that I thought it was a DoorDash driver. I should probably just say I thought that was what it was in my stream, and it'd be funny. And that's how usually like all my interactions go. Like except for like the tattooing thing, which is what I actually did. But
Mm.
like even the tattooing thing, I was like, I really want to black out my arm, and like I'm probably just gonna literally just black out the entire left side of my body. Maybe I can just like fuck around with the tattoo gun for a while before I do it, and then just like call it a day. And that's like where my thought process goes. And it's not like, oh, dude, I just want to get some laughs and chuckles. I'm just like more like, okay, this will be funny to do, or this will be funny if like this other thing that's like not as big of an issue like comes up onto here. I like or like the two jobs thing. Like my roommate worked two jobs as a software engineer, and he made like 400K or whatever, 300K doing it. And I was like, oh, that's like funny. I'm just gonna say I do that too. And then like, and it's like funny that he does that. And then he got like fired from both of his jobs at the same time. I was like, oh, I'll just say that's me as well.
Mm.
And then that's just like my whole bit.
Sure.
So yeah. So it's like, and it's like, I get that it's like that leads people to think things, but like it's not because like it's like there's like some underlying truth that like that's who I am. It's more just like my internal thoughts. I'm just making into a persona, and that's the extent of it.
Okay. I guess the thing that I will, from here on out, for this part of the conversation, try to convince you on is like, you can believe these things about you, that you're making poor decisions and poor life decisions and you're fucking yourself without the stream persona, like with like taking that out of account. Like, do you believe that people can arrive at that conclusion just from what they know about like actual things that you're doing besides the memes?
Yeah, which is why it doesn't hurt me as much when like people in chat or like random people are just like, "Well, Darius is a retard," versus like Melina, who's someone I had like a really really close relationship with, decides to just like join in on a bunch of other people that are pretending that don't know me, and she's pretending she doesn't know me either, and then starts saying a whole bunch of shit about how like I'm like ruining my life. I keep making dumb decisions. Like the most dumb decisions I made in my life is staying with my fiance. And like she's doing the exact same thing. I got fired from my job, which isn't like my decision to get fired from my job. I got literally like I literally had some fucking guy like call them and like fuck with my work. Like I didn't make that decision, and even if I did make the decision, it was like to have that guy even be responsible for my job. It was fucking like 8-9 months ago. It's like um I can't like just change that, you know. So it's like, and she knows this. She knows everything. But the thing is that like it's so easy for her to like, you know, just kind of look for like approval points from chat or whatever, or just like say like, oh, Darius. I think it's so frustrating because like the whole thing is like she tried to use this argument where she's like, oh, Darius just keeps making dumb decisions and it really hurts me. It really hurts me. Like Melina's made 10 times more of the dumb decisions than I have. And the thing for me personally is just that the only thing I really fucked up with, and the only thing I've talked to Melina about that I fuck up with in my life is my relationship with my fiance. And that's like all she really knows. Like even me losing my job, like she sent me a message like the day I told her I was going to kill myself and then I lost my job. She sent me a message back saying, I don't know what to do. This sounds almost laughable that you even had to get, like, it sounds like a meme almost. Sorry, don't really care. Like it's like she's like, I care about you, but like it's funny that you even got banned. It's like it almost sounds like a meme. I'm like, dude, like I wish you would release. I asked her for like her to release the fucking text messages because she wants to unironically like go around saying like I was so charitable to him, and like Steven even is doing it where he's like, oh dude, like she definitely was like always there for me. Like me and Melina have talked and she's been there for me before when I've talked about like sushi issues, but it's like Melina's very much there for me when I'm talking about drama related to sushi, because she's interested in the drama and interested in shitting on sushi. If I start talking about like like again, there's other times where I'm talking about like my family and other stuff like that, and like we have conversations and it's like whatever, and that's cool, and she's there for me. But like when it comes to this specific instance here, for her to just say like this is just too much, I'm just doing too much to fuck myself over, it's just like it's just like comical when the same thing has relatively happened with her in the last 3 months, if not worse. And I've kind of been there for her and also listened to her and didn't like assume all these negative things.
Okay. To get back, because I just want to close this one. Like my question was, could people come away with the impression that you kind of like fuck your own life and make poor decisions outside of just like your stream memes? And I think that the answer is yes. And it may be upsetting that like she judges you for some of the things that you might think she's even doing herself without being nearly as critical of herself. But the answer would still be yes, that like other things you do would lead to that impression, right?
Yeah, no, I can get that. I can see anybody that I talk to personally. I would say more than definitely doesn't get that impression just based on how we talk and how I talk about stuff. But outside of that, I would say like I can understand why vast majority of people would assume I'm like this retard that just does stuff to ruin my life over and over again, because that's how I present myself. But like again, people like Melina, people like Sushi, people like people in my Discord that used to talk to almost every day. Um, that I would imagine they wouldn't think that when I'm talking about my life and actually being a real person.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to like push back on this a little bit because like I think even if they know your reasoning behind it, even if they can intimately understand why you're in the bad positions that you're in, they could still feel like, damn, dude, if I was in your shoes, it would be so much easier to make a better decision. It seems like you keep doing retarded stuff that's ruining your life, right? And it can be really frustrating to be the friend in that situation. Now, the problem is if you go out and then you start saying that to people when you were meant to be like a confidant and a friend, I can understand why you would be upset about that. But I'm also understanding of why they have that impression in the first place. That's just where I'm trying to get us to connect at.
Yeah, so I don't think people like that are actually my friend have the impression I'm like this massive retard though. It's like only Melina and she only has this that's where it comes back to where we need to cycle why she would even have this impression. And then that's where things get dragged into Austin where it's like, okay, seems like she just kind of like didn't care about me after that because she got weirded out and didn't really like care about their friendship after that.
Well,
Like
I don't think it does have to do only with Austin because it seems like what she mentioned on stream a lot was like this killing yourself situation that you were in or your relationship with Sushia, right? Like, so like,
I mean, but like that. I mean, that stuff is like I wouldn't say that's like I wouldn't say I wouldn't say like killing yourself is normal behavior, but like having really bad days or having really bad shit happen to you. I don't think that's like someone who's like your friend who she's also done the same thing of, and we've talked about before. I don't think that's like a. I don't think that's like a thing that would make you think like, okay, this guy's just actually retarded. Like I don't think I never thought Melina was fucking retarded because she had like a bad day, or a bad.
I don't know, Darius, because like I feel like it's totally fine to think the person's retarded. I feel like the problem is like when you go ahead and like broadcast that to people, it can be hurtful.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
you could think she's retarded for the same things, and you did seem to say as much when you were getting really upset in that conversation with her, right? Like. And I think that's totally fine to have as an opinion. I think we all have friends that like they tell us stories about their life and it seems like, oh, well, you're doing the same wrong thing over and over, no matter what I tell you. And I think everybody has that stuff. And if you just focus on that, it could seem like, yeah, you're being a bit of a retard and it's ruining your life. But then to go and say that in like a chat full of people, that can cross the line where it's like, okay, well, you can't do that, dude. Like you got to be better than that, right?
Yeah. I guess I get what you're saying. It's just like when I look at for this specific person, the issues that were parallel, is like the biggest difference is that she has a really successful Twitch stream that makes her way more money that where she can just like fly somewhere and get a new place somewhere like on a drop of a dime, and I can't. So it's like I do get that, and if someone like Steven or whatever was just like Darius, listen, dude, Darius has this shit going on. Like that's why I didn't get like as mad as Steven because he kind of doesn't really know like even my personal shit too much. But like Steven's just like, listen, dude, Darius got a whole lot of shit. Like with the girdle thing, I kind of expected Steven to care just like a little bit more, but he didn't. He's just like, dude, this is just like retarded. And I'm like, okay, well, all right, we can just move on. But like someone like me,
yeah, like even the dog thing seems a little bit retarded, right? Like.
Why does Darius keep bringing up the same point over and over again when Melina flew him out and paid for the Airbnb? She literally was already going to go on the Airbnb, and then when Ro was coming, dude, it's like so cringe. It's like she flew me out for $250 or whatever. Okay, cool, awesome. I was gonna like again, and like fucking, and she got the Airbnb. And I don't understand what is that like supposed to be like crazy helping me? Like is that supposed to be like a crazy like fucking poggers thing? Like I don't understand. And even if that is true, and she was like super like, oh dude, like I'm fucking poggers like helping him out. Like what am I supposed to do about that? Like what does that like what does that have to do with like her helping me at all?
Like. Yeah,
I just mean she's saying she expects me to fly out anywhere I can't afford. She's not retarded. She unironically, Steven, I can go through multiple messages. I made sure I saved it all. She literally goes on and talks to me. She was telling me how she wanted to go to like Aruba with me for not Aruba. I messaged you about the fucking place. She was like, oh, we should just go to like fucking called. She was like, oh, let's just go there for like my birthday or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I don't like. It's like $500 for a plane ticket to this place. Like, I don't know what the fuck it is. She's not just expecting you. She was expecting me though. She's not, dude. That's why I needed to know you to also get me into the group chats too, because she was expecting me just to pay for my flight and everything like that. I had to wait till like 2 to 3 days before the flight to actually get the fucking flight, because she just thought I would just get it at that time. She brought your ticket to Austin. She probably buy the ticket to Aruba, mate. Dude, I promise you, she wouldn't. She wouldn't.
Well,
she might have. Like, it's like
she probably would have, right? Like, that's a fair.
I mean, she might have. The conversation is just that we need to sit here and like fucking like again. Like, what happens is these things just drag on for the longest times possible. We've talked multiple times about going places, and because she hasn't like go ahead and put her foot in the door to like go ahead and put her foot. Or like put her foot inside the place or whatever to fucking do it, we haven't done it. The only reason why we ended up even moving this is because it got to a point where she was literally like trying to get away from Steven. Like, why would she not buy it when you were one of her closest friends? Of course she'd buy it. Okay, again, like that's my issue. Is like the Airbnb was like something she was already gonna get because she didn't have a place, and then a ticket for me to go. It's like that's poggers or whatever, and I appreciate that, and that's like cool. But like again, like. I don't know what to say. Like, I'm glad she did that, but I can't. There's been multiple other times we talked and she hasn't done it.
Well, hold on. I think we could close this really quick.
Telling me to collect, like she's even like trying to tell me to collect the payment because I went ahead and like because we weren't friends anymore.
Okay. When you were friends, which is all the things that we're talking about with Aruba and whatever, I think it's fair to say that if you were to ask like explicitly, she probably would have paid for your stuff. Given the way that she behaves with everybody else.
I told her the flight round trip was $500, and she said the only thing she can do is half. So like, I don't think she was ever gonna pay over like two. Like, here's the thing, like Melina, like she, okay. I can go ahead. It's like I already told her like how much the flight was, and she only said she could only do up to 200. When she was trying to get me to move to fucking Austin, Texas, I told her like, hey, just like to break my lease and make me just go ahead and like move out of my place because. I'm not gonna be able to do it. It's gonna be like $1,500. She was like, I just can't do that. And Steven even knows this, dude. When it was like $1,500, and we were telling her to pay like that much or whatever for me to move because she wanted me to move with her. Wait, if that's true, why not just say that right at the beginning? Because I have to like I'm not thinking of these things actively, Steven. I'm like, listen. Again, like you're Steven. Why did you just open up with that? How did it take 20 minutes of rambling to get? Oh, she said she'd only. Hold
on. I have to put a pause on this because I cannot have you talking to Steven because he won't come in and I can't see his messages. So it'd be rough.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, she already. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. She already didn't pay for the full round trip ticket. She only paid for half of it. Melina's done this multiple other times though. Like, and it's like I don't know how you don't understand this when there's been time where like she has talked to you about finances and she's been like, I can't pay this amount when it's an amount she should definitely be able to pay when she's making like 100K plus a year.
Okay,
off of just like going.
I'm dragging him in. Apparently, he wants to come in. Are you okay with that?
I have to take Adderall if he's gonna be in here, dude. Like, here's the thing. I can't. Because like, here's the thing. I have an argument, but I'm actually like I'm actually retarded. Like, I'm not retarded as like I don't know how to. Like, I get nervous around him.
That's okay because daddy. If there's one thing I'm known for, it's being a retard lover. Okay, I'll be your defense.
Cool. I have a third party here, so it's fine. Okay, we can go. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay,
go ahead. It's fine.
And take your Adderall if you need to. That's totally fine.
I need to. Give me like 2 seconds.
Okay, and then I'll add Steven in. I'll figure out how exactly to do that. Fuck. Wait, am I actually dumb? Also, chat, I'm sorry for saying retard over and over. It's just that's how these people speak, okay? And I need to speak in internet bonics, okay? How do I even add somebody to this?
Okay.
How do I add somebody in here? I'm dumb.
You have to press the plus button. I'll just add them. I'm not friends with you, so you need to add me first.
Wait,
no, we are friends, aren't we?
I thought we were.
No, I added you during the boxing match.
Yeah. Which is not happening, right? Because I have not been training.
Yeah, boxing match. I was gonna happen, but then like when that stuff was happening, I deleted literally everything because I thought I was getting harassed by people, but it was just one fucking
okay, Darius.
What's up, Steve?
I'm here to coach you. Okay, listen.
Okay.
There are some things Melina did that are fucking dumb. All right.
Yeah.
Your W is focusing on the autistic, stupid shit she does, like saying dumb messages in chat. But every time you try to broaden the story and include other stuff, you're just so wrong.
Okay, but it's like
If I were to ask you honestly, okay, let's say that you and Melina were close, right? Yes, you were very close.
Yes.
If Melina really wanted to go to some place with you and you couldn't afford it, do you really think she'd be like, "Oh, sorry, I can't get the ticket. I can't do it"? Of course she would buy the ticket.
Well, the thing is, like, she would push it as much as possible, which is what she's done before. When we talked about like going to places for like the past year, since like literally October, we've been like almost once a month. We're like, we should really go off and go somewhere, and I'm like, well, I don't actually have the money to just like go somewhere like on the whim, and it's always because you guys are arguing. So like, literally think every time you guys have argued and had an issue, she said, I need to get out of here. Let's go move somewhere, and all the time it's on a whim. It's like within the next
Okay,
week. Like,
listen, yeah, but hold on. Just think of the two different things you're presenting here, okay? Melina going like, oh, fuck, like I want to travel, I want to go somewhere, is not the same as saying, Darius, you need to have the money to travel right now. Like, even if you had the money to buy the tickets before, she probably wouldn't have because she was just floating an idea out there because she was just upset at the time. They're two different things. Honestly, you have to stop presenting the story that like, Melina expects me to just have $5,000 to go fly anywhere. That's not true. You know that's not true. Even if you had the money, she probably wouldn't have flown. She was just upset at the time.
sure, and then that's where I guess like, how am I supposed to discern that then? Like, how am I supposed to understand?
Wait, you understand. It's obvious because you figured it out because you went to Austin and she did cover the cost of your ticket. Anytime before, she was like, oh, I want to go to River.
Lost my ticket, and she didn't want to do any more than like $200 when she makes like triple that in a fucking stream, like for 3 hours. Like, it's like,
Wait. Wait. How much of the ticket from Austin did she cover?
oh, okay, so she covered my flight there, which was like $200.
Okay.
That's it.
Oh. But she
And then
didn't cover the flight back because you left.
Because I left
After the
and
thing.
yeah, and regardless, she wasn't. Again, I would have had to ask her because I already told her round trip it's going to be this much, and she said, I said it's going to be 500. Again, she deleted her messages, but I have it all saved anyway. Let me fucking go through my shit and send it to you.
Wait, I'm curious. Yeah. What? Okay. Why not just open with that then and say like, oh, she would have. She said she'd only cover half. Why not just say that?
Because the thing is like when so I'm like trying to think about things and I have to remember things, and it's like I have
Well,
to.
yeah, but you're on a stream to argue about these things. We shouldn't.
Oh, I wasn't arguing about these things when I was because you brought up that, Steven, in chat. I was talking to Booksmarts.
I didn't bring it
about-
up. You brought it up. I was responding to it. Sorry.
No, you were in chat saying, Darius, you were wait, dude, my fucking. You didn't bring up talking about paying for trips. You were talking about fucking what's it called? And Melina was paid for half my trip, sure, but she wasn't gonna pay for all my trip to go somewhere for like any again. Even though Airbnb originally she was talking about having me pay 1/3, and I was like, I don't have that money. I don't have that money.
Wait, was she originally talking about it, or was she saying it afterwards because she was just mad after?
No, she was originally when we were talking about it, she was talking about how like it would be this much, and then we went ahead. That's why I said I wanted to know you to add me to the group chat, and then what happened was she said, okay, I'll just pay for it. That's why if you ask to know you to give you the logs of the group chat, she'll say that she goes ahead and she says, I'm just gonna cover it and I'll get it.
Okay,
Don't
so
worry.
it sounds like if you didn't have the money, she probably would just cover it. It'd probably be a thing she's done. She's done it for friends in the past that aren't as close as you guys were. So it sounds like she probably would have done it for you too. That'd be my guess, right?
Sure, but it's just like with the history of like happening so many times over like a year-long period.
Wait,
it's
when
like
you say
Well,
this
hold on.
history of happening so many times,
I'm gonna
It's-
jump
it's-
in because like
Yeah.
we are looping. Like so what is very clear and what you keep agreeing to, but then moving off of is like it is very likely that she would have paid for your stuff. And it didn't happen before, but you had never asked before. So maybe the lesson here is like bringing up the money probably could have solved this question in your mind way sooner. And in hindsight, might have been good to do.
No. Because I brought up the money almost every single time. Because she always was. I think again, when Steven was saying, when she's upset, she goes ahead and says like, "I need to go somewhere. I need to go somewhere. No, go somewhere." I'm like, okay, listen, like I'll do it, whatever. I just don't have the money, whatever. And then it ends up just the conversation just kind of dies after that. And like.
So how many times has that happened before where you bring up the money and then it dies?
So I can count. So every about 2 to 3 months is when they argue, and that's when she starts doing it. So it's been since October. It's been.
yeah, but the question is it dying over money things, or is it dying because she's like, fuck, I want to go somewhere?
Well,
Because
no.
it's not like when you don't have the money that she ends up like going somewhere anyway. Like,
Well, no, because she doesn't end up going like the whole time. Like I think when you were in Miami or whatever, it's like she just stayed there and then.
yeah, so it's not like she was canceling, or it's not like she was like, okay, well, I'll go, but I can't go with Darius because he's too cheap or he doesn't have the money. She just like, it's like floating an idea. She's like, fuck, I want to get out. I want to go to some place. And then it ends up not happening. You're like, and in your mind, you're phrasing that as like, oh, she's only doing it because I didn't respond because she doesn't want to pay for me. But it sounds like she's just saying like, oh, like I'm annoyed, I want to go somewhere, and then like a few days later, she's like, oh, fuck it, I'll
Okay,
Sorry, maybe
but hold on. But to pause and make one thing clear here, if this is the case, then it isn't reasonable for Darius to expect that she would pay for all the trips then, though, right? Because then he asked and it never happened. Like regardless of what her reason is.
I would have to see what the conversations look like or something.
Okay.
Like for instance, if they're going back and forth like really quickly, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh man, I don't know if I can afford it, and it's like radio silence. Yeah, that would look pretty weird. But if they're like going back and forth and he's like, yeah, maybe I could, but I'm not sure if I got the money. She's like, oh yeah, maybe, I don't know. Well, we'll see or whatever, what's happening, blah, blah, blah. And then the conversation kind of fizzles out. Then it kind of just sounds like she had an idea and she just didn't go through with it. It wasn't like the money thing.
So
Well,
what happens is
hold on. I want to pursue this further. So if he would have had the money, Steven, don't you think it would be likely that she would have gone through with the trip? Like,
No, I don't think so.
Yes, because I would have bought the ticket already. I would have bought the ticket and everything with it. That's what I'm saying. My thing is that
Hold on. Did you guys
ever?
ever discuss like specific dates?
Even New York, even we were going to go to New York and Portland like 2 months ago or whatever, and we were going to set that up. But I was like, hey, me and Sushi don't have the money to just go to Portland. You're probably going to have to cover us. She was like, okay, no problem. And then what happened was it just never happened afterward because we need to wait for her to do it. And then when I reminded her of it, she was just like,
Yeah, so this is like, yeah, so what you're describing is, yeah, this is literally a problem that I have with Melina. So Melina will say something to me. She'll be like, hey, we should really do something next weekend. And I'll be like, oh, okay, sure. And then next weekend will come and it'll go and it'll be Monday. And Melina will be like, why didn't we do anything? I'll be like, because we didn't make any fucking plans. I don't know what the fuck. We didn't actually do anything. But like, so what you're describing to me just sounds like Melina behavior. She's like, oh, we should go do this or whatever. And then blah, blah, blah. But then like no specific dates get discussed, no plans get made. And you said it yourself. You made it sound like you didn't even actually plan anything out. It's not like she was like, we should go to Portland from like the 12th to the 14th and then New York from the 15th to the 18th. And you're like, well, I don't have the money. And then you're like,
no, actually, we did do that. We did this exact thing. And I can, oh, dude. The thing is, like, we gave the exact dates, and I told her like what's the cheapest gonna be, and I told her like if you do this in 3-4 weeks or whatever, we could probably get the money up or something for that too. And like it just what happened is it just fit, like we had dates and everything set. We were even I had looking on Airbnb at like locations we can go for either naturey stuff or city stuff, wherever the fuck she wanted. Like,
okay, wait. Here, can I ask a question for this? Just curious. When you were talking about the Portland stuff, how many months ago was that?
That was I could just look up. I could type Portland in our messages.
No, you don't. It doesn't have to be just precise. Just like, was this like 2 months ago? Was it like 2 years ago? Was it like
a month ago?
About a month ago. Okay.
On June 19th, June 11th is when we originally.
Okay, a month ago.
Sorry, June 6th is when we originally.
Yeah,
talked
I understand. Okay, so about a month ago, in this conversation, was she originally talking about the two of you going somewhere, and then you said, "Well, hold on, Sushi has to come along," and then that's why it didn't work?
So in this conversation, I said me and her can go, and that's fine. I said, do you want?
Wait. When you said me and her can go, and that's fine, were you saying that in contradiction to Melina suggesting that just you and her go?
I'd have to look at the messages and tell you. I can't make that statement like 100%.
Okay, because I'm only thinking I don't know what your messages look like because I haven't seen these. But it sounds like one thing that could have happened too was she talking about Melina and you, Darius, going, and then you were like, I can, but Sushi definitely has to come along too. And then she was like, oh, okay, well I don't know how I feel about that because of all the conflict between Sushi, because that would be different too.
Okay, so I just looked it up and I said, yeah, if we do Portland, are you okay with Sushi coming? Portland is like one place she would probably kill me if I go without her. So
okay, so it sounds like you were making plans to go with Melina somewhere alone, and then you said Sushi has to come along, and then things changed. So it doesn't have to do with the money here. It has to do with other things.
With Portland, and then she agreed to that. Actually, she ended up saying that she was okay with it, and then that she would have to go ahead and think. She said she would think about it originally, then she said she was okay with it, and it's okay. Hold on one second. You know,
I'm just saying, all I'm trying to say, and I'm not trying to crucify you on this. I'm just saying that it's a little bit more complicated than her being like, fuck, you don't have the money, fuck this, right? It sounds like there's been a lot of other stuff going on in the background.
This is just like one time though, out of like other times where it's just been me and her. And even this, I was like, we could just do somewhere else. And then we talked about New York as well. And like it's not just like this place. This one place, Portland, was where Sushi was involved. Everywhere else is like something else.
Why not talk about those other places? Why talk about the Portland one?
Because I was just bringing up places. I was just like Portland, New York.
Well, yeah, but you always bring up like the worst examples.
South Carolina.
Yeah, he has a bad tendency.
Okay, cool. Okay, South Carolina, New York. 2 places that she said she wanted to go with me, and she kept linking me places like, this is really pretty, we should go. And I'm like, okay, cool. And in New York, I even gave her a date. I said, let's do this August, not August, July 28th through the 31st. And then she went ahead and she said, okay, cool, let's do that. And then nothing happened after that.
Yeah, but like, why? Was money discussed, or is she just like? I'm not trying to throw Melina under the bus, but like she'll do shit like this, where she'll start linking me like, oh my god, we should go to this place, and starts linking me Airbnbs, activities, and we're like, oh okay, yeah, sounds okay. But like, if no formal plan is made,
So what it seems like more happens is that she's just like, it's like again like I can't tell you why, because like it sounds like we're really down for it and everything's like cool, but then she just like just disappears. I genuinely can't.
yeah,
Like,
it sounds to me like
That's-
she's like upset with me. She's starting to think about going to other places. She's kind of floating
Yeah.
ideas with you, blah blah blah. But then it doesn't happen, which is fine, and that actually could be shitty towards you. I agree. That's like, oh, that kind of sucks. It feels like she's like floating trip ideas in front of you and then doesn't go through. That's pretty shitty. But just like to say that it was like just because of money.
Oh, I
doesn't seem
know,
like
okay,
it seems like
right.
there's other stuff going on. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, no, but I'm just saying if I had the money, if the money wasn't an issue, like let's say I can go ahead and pay for these places right now, I'm like 1,000% sure. I was like, hey, I bought my ticket and everything for New York. Are you ready to go? She would have bought a ticket as well.
Okay, so hold on. So you're bringing up New York. When was that? When was the date for that?
That was the same time that we were talking about Portland, so it was like the 11th
Of this month?
of June.
Of
June.
June.
That's when we were floating places, and we were like Portland, New York, whatever. Then we started talking about New York.
Oh, well, okay. Listen, I'm just be careful. I love you. Be careful.
Wait.
Both of you, be careful. Okay.
Wait, wait, I don't understand. Wait,
So his whole point that he wants you to agree
when
to.
I say things, no, wait, no, see, when I say things, it sounds like you take it as like when I talked about like even Mitch coming, like you take it as like I'm trying to phrase things in a way that's like almost like malicious. Like I want people to think like, oh, it was like a fuckscapade or something, or like it's just this reason. When like that doesn't go through my head at all.
Okay, it
And,
might
like,
not,
How do
and
I
listen-
say things better so it's not what
Yeah.
you're taking from it?
It legitimately might not be that. It legitimately might not be that you're trying to do it intentionally. But when you're saying things like, I feel like I got replaced by Mitch or whatever, stuff like that, and then you're like, bring up like weird like STD stuff or whatever, that's kind of like what it sounds like.
I'm bringing up that. That was like wasn't it after and it was sushi like.
Oh, so she might have brought up the STD stuff. But for you, I remember for the Mitch thing, you specifically said that it felt like you got replaced by Mitch. That's that's like the impression that
I
it
was
kind of
her
gives.
friend, and then like she just replaced me with another friend. And then it was
Not
like,
even
okay,
really friends with Mitch though, right?
what's up?
Do you know?
Oh shit.
No, there's Clorox wipe somewhere though. She's using
No,
that.
I had to do carpet cleaning under my desk.
I don't know where it is.
But you opened up the box?
It's over the living room somewhere. Okay, you just look for it. Okay, okay. So
Also,
what's
wait
it-
a second. Hold on. Just checking something. You said for that New York trip, that was going to be at the end of last month.
It was gonna be at the end of last month is when we were talking about doing it. Yes.
Who canceled on that trip? Was it you or Melina?
Nothing moved. So
Wait.
Nobody did.
Nothing moved, or did she give you a set of dates and you said that you couldn't go on those particular dates?
I can find the dates exactly. What are you? Okay, July. I can go look it up. So I think she gave me the date of like the 19th to the 21st, and I said that's not good. Let's do like the 26th to the 28th, and I gave
Okay.
her like that timeline.
Okay, so again, also a little different, right?
Well, like I gave her like a week later. She said it was okay. She it's like my thing. It's not just like I'm.
Well, sure, but it might have been that like she was trying to plan a trip that coincided with like a trip I'm taking because we usually go out of town at the same
Yes,
time.
which is what.
sometimes.
Yes, that's exactly what was happening. I was like, okay, well, like I don't know. If I
Okay,
can
wait.
do this
So that's an important piece of the story. She's not just like making a plan and then canceling because of whatever reason. It's because she's got a particular set of dates that aligns with when I'm
And
traveling.
she's
And then
agreeing with the other timeline. And then but then why agree with the other timeline? Why didn't say like,
wait,
oh,
so did
okay.
she agree? Did she
Yes.
agree with the other timeline and then she canceled that?
And then she never moved on from it. Yes. Because like it's like if she would have said like, oh, that's not really working. I kind of just wanted to do this for Steven, then I'd be like, oh, okay, like I can make stuff work and we can like work on there. But I was like, and I even told her that I was like, if you want us to go around this time, we can go ahead and do that. But
Okay,
like,
so this is just a disagreement on the fact that because Melina she's dimming me and she's saying that you agreed to go to some timeline where I was going to be out of town at the same time, but then you said you couldn't make those dates, and then you guys both said you'd do it later, but then nothing materialized on that. That's
yes,
what.
and that's how literally it goes on with like almost everything. Like it was even before that. It's like okay, she's like okay, well I need to go now, or I'm like okay, well I can't buy a flight right now. It's like expensive. It's the same week. Like I can get it like 3 weeks from now, and like by then it's like this is the whole thing too. Why like probably these issues came to be the way they were. Like it's like what happens is like it's like 3 weeks later, and like it just moves on because like she's no longer upset and wants to see someone else. She's just like okay, I'm back to normal, and then like it moves on. Nothing materializes from it.
Okay. Here's how I would phrase it if I was you. Okay. This is just as if I was in your position, I would say Melina sometimes feels like she uses me like an emotional crutch. And something that's really hurtful is Melina will make these plans, these kind of vague plans, and sometimes even more specific plans, where she's trying to schedule a trip with me, and then I kind of get excited about it, but then we can never figure out exact dates because it seems like her emotional state improves, and then afterwards I'm just kind of left hanging, and that really bothers me. It makes me feel like shit. I wish she wouldn't do that as much, or I kind of got irritated when she'd do that a lot. I think that's a perfectly fine phrasing. It shows flakiness on her part. It gets you to have a reasonable emotional reaction to it, and I think it makes you a sympathetic character. But I think when you start throwing on all this other stuff, like she's trying to make me pay for stuff she can't afford it, then it will now all of it feels a lot more suspect because you're lying about like what's actually going on. It feels like you are. Now it's like, well, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to see. That's how I would phrase it if I was.
Yeah, and I need to just like think about that more because like the thing is like when I'm having these things like my ADHD kicks in and I just see like a comment and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna respond to that, and then there's no like context around like what that is, and I understand how that can look really weird. Even when we're talking about the Mitch thing or whatever, like I'm not trying to say like Mitch is like her new fuck buddy because that's like what the thing is, but what I'm trying to say is that like a friend got replaced with another friend, and that felt really bad because I was like, oh damn, dude, like I'm that fucking replaceable that literally anybody can just go over there and it's like back to normal for her. It's like it's
sure, but like even that statement doesn't make sense because you're the one that chose to leave that night, Darius.
Well, I know. Here's the thing. I didn't. Okay, again, I didn't choose to leave. I could have stayed there or whatever, right? But I would have been making it more uncomfortable for her. She told me she was uncomfortable, and if I would have stayed there, that would have been I think that would have been fucked up for me. Okay, when she's telling me, giving me clear signs like, "Hey, I think you should go home." Especially when I'm saying like, "Can you make the decision, please?" Because I don't know what the fuck to do. Because I don't know if you're uncomfortable or not, and I don't want you to be uncomfortable on your own little trip. This is your trip, and I had to like fuck. I had to get my flight going back home. I could have just stayed there and made it awkward for her, sure. But like, and I was willing to
like,
talk to her.
wasn't the reason why it was awkward was because there was more escalatory stuff happening in terms of you trying to get closer to her without making it too weird?
Okay, I'm not trying to get closer to her. I'm as close as possible as I can be with her, and I'm not trying to.
Sure, but I mean, like day one there was like the physical weirdness, and then that seemed like you backed off from that. But then by the time we got around to day 3, there was the infatuation comment that came up. So it seemed like it was this continual push for stuff. That like it could it not have been like, okay, listen, I'm not gonna do drugs, we don't have to be physically like close, like we'll just like hang out and chill. Like it seemed like that was one potential path forward. Or even if it wasn't, even if you felt like you had to leave, that's fine. But just like the idea of like, oh, like I got replaced the next day makes it sound like she kicked you out when in reality it was a little bit more complicated. That's all I'm saying.
Sure, but then it's like I guess if we want to go into it being complicated and kind of going and talk more about stuff going into there, then I guess like I can go ahead and do that. But it's like it's like every time I do that, it just again it sounds like I'm more just like I know I get shit for talking about like the non-nuanced parts of it, or like not saying I get shit, but like it's just like not what's it called, like it's like I need to go into like personal things about like sorry sushi, but Melina, and then but what happens is Melina responds to that and just says something like that's not true. Like when we talk about like how like when she says like, oh, Darius is like gropey with me and like touching me and stuff like that or whatever, and I'm like, okay, well, like literally you were giving me signs that this was okay by moving your.
Sure. Okay, listen, I'm gonna.
Oh God. Okay, we don't want to lose.
You guys can keep trudging forward. Okay. Good luck. Be careful.
Okay. All right, I'm grabbing the reins, Darius. We're talking now. So my advice on like why you're being misunderstood and stuff all the time and whatever, I think you're on the right track with the ADHD thing. Like if you're bringing up a lot of points and you're emotional about it, we can mix in your emotions and the points and like get a narrative that people may disagree with, and it may be missing out other details that would lead people to believe like a different narrative about what's going on. I think if you just focus on like one central thing that's important and ignore a lot of the stuff that'll like pull you off the path of that, and you just talk in terms of how you feel rather than what someone else is doing, I think that might like be more handy for you, or you might come off a little bit better. Like, it makes me feel like I'm replaceable, that like she instantly had plans after me.
Then Steven just says like, oh, well, just so you know, Mitch Jones I wanted him to go out there. Melina wanted him to go out there. It's like, I need to have clarification for what Mitch Jones was going through. And it's like, why did we even need that? I still feel replaceable. I don't give a fuck what the reason was Mitch came. I don't care if her fucking dad came to visit. It's like a whole thing where it's like, okay, I was like literally I thought I was having fun. I thought we were like doing everything is cool. Something weird happens. And then the next day it's like nothing. But for me, it's like, I literally just like lost a friend that didn't even want to check up on me. And like, I guess, again, it's like, it's sort of, yeah, I guess I get that. I get that.
Yeah. And then like, as far as this groping and touching situation. Is that something you want to rehash, or do you want to just leave that alone?
No, it's like this nigga. I think, and again, Melina keeps saying this thing now, and like that's where I'm like, is it when we're talking about collecting my thoughts and getting everything on paper? It's like obviously I can't do this when I'm speaking because it's like actually like so triggering. But it's like what I maybe I need to do is go and make a manifesto about literally everything where I can clarify what actions led to what.
I don't think you should do that. I would highly advise against that.
Because that's what I'm saying. When like Melina goes on and she's like, I can't defend myself. If I defend myself, they just leak personal stuff like STDs. Like, listen, I don't give a fuck what Sushi did. Okay. And first and second off, I had like, it's like, dude, it's like, it has a big reason to do with why I didn't want to fuck you, you fucking monkey. It's like, people keep telling me.
Hold on. Let's take a couple of breaths, because if you get emotional, then we're gonna have the same problem where it's gonna get like confusing. It's okay. There's no rush. Like we can both like take like 2 or 3 breaths and then jump into like the problem there. All right. So 1.
Yeah, it's like when.
No. I'm gonna make you do the breaths, okay? Because it's easy to just.
Fine. It's just triggering when I'm saying like what my reason is for something, and then someone's gonna tell me like this is not your actual thing. Like
yeah.
Also, I'm half black. I can say nigga. Are you made a face? Do you disagree with that?
No, I just don't like the word. That's all.
In general?
Yeah, just in general.
Understood. Okay.
You can do it though. That's totally fine. I'm not policing your use of the N-word. Believe me.
Like, I understood.
Okay.
I just thought you were a little frustrated because I said okay, but okay. Anyway, I'm also a freedman, by the way. I don't know if you know what that is, but I'm a freedman black guy, so I even more of a right to say it. But this guy, so it's like whenever I say something, it's like always just like, okay, but your assumption is something like, it's like I can't say genuinely like what my thought process is, or tell people like genuinely what I felt or in those moments. And if I do tell people like what it made me feel like, I just get like BTFO'd or like, oh, but you saying like when I talk about like this specific thing, like how I feel about like being replaced or whatever, it's like, well, actually, Mitch had this. Or if I talk about like, okay, well, when I was touching you and like, and stuff like that, and like I didn't want to have sex with you, even though I was touching you and stuff like that, like these things, so you can't trust my opinion, and I need to tell you personal things about Melina or why I didn't want to fuck her. And it's like when Melina is, it's like right now I feel like I need to leak things. It's like she's already talking about STDs.
No.
Like if you want me to just fucking say what you had, I can, dog. It's like if you want to keep like it's cringe to me that like I have to keep getting talked about like, oh, Darius is just like lying. He's just lying. Nigga, show your fucking. It's like, dude. It's so triggering.
Hold on. Let me like connect with you there, because one frustrating thing I saw that I had in a similar conversation with Steven.
You brought. Wait. So, no, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm getting triggered again. You retards brought the STDs up. It has a crucial thing.
No. Hold on. We have to let that go for 2 seconds. Because it won't go anywhere good if we get into that.
Okay. She had no STDs in Austin. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Fuck it. I don't give
No.
a fuck.
No. I've muted you. I just, like, let's think soberly for 2 seconds. Like, this chick was your friend until just a few days ago or whatever. Like, we don't have to do that, man. Like, I think what's best for everybody.
But like when she's going ironically, like here's the thing that Melina does, okay? And this is why I get so pissed off. Because Melina did this with me, and I thought it was fucked up, but like I thought she was a good person at her heart. And like I tried genuinely hard to think that she was just like getting fucked by so many people when that wasn't the case. Melina will go on her on a rant to people about like how awful of another person is. She will try her hardest to change the opinion of somebody. Like I remember at some point there's like Arison, are we muted? Are we unmuted?
No, we're unmuted.
Okay, we're unmuted. Okay, so Eris, like this fucking person, Melina would go, I didn't give a fuck about Eris, okay? But Melina tried so hard to get me to think she is an awful person. Even when I tried to excuse her actions, she would go on for hours about how awful of a person Eris was. And I was like, dude, like, what the, like, I'm trying to tell you, like, this is probably the reason why she had this, and she still is like, nope, no, actually she's bad. So when Melina goes into chat and starts talking shit about me, and it's like, they're all liars, they're talking about STDs for no reason, it makes me just think like, dude, I'm literally Eris right now to her. She's gonna go talk to other people, and she's gonna be like, Darius is a piece of shit who has an awful girlfriend, and talk about all my personal shit, and it's like, nigga, if you're gonna go do that to me, I will fucking destroy you.
No, hold on, Darius. Hold on.
No problem doing that. And
Let-
you think you can go around?
Wait, let's
What?
pause. Let's pause for 2 seconds, okay? Just because somebody else does something that you've like really disagree with, you really think is bad, I really think the advice we want to give, like soberly, is not to do the thing that you're criticizing them for doing. You have to be better than that, right?
Nigga, I'm not gonna go Gandhi on Melina. I even gave it that chance at the start when this shit happened. But like I'll legitimately be like, okay, cool. Like I probably an eye for an eye or whatever, and that should be true. But like here's the thing, dude. Like when my fiance inhabits the same space of Austin, Texas, and knows all those people, and like I listen to Melina like legitimately say the worst shit about sushi, and I sit there and I go, and that's my fiance, and I'm like, okay, listen, you have to understand this point, and her response is just, oh well, sushi's just a bitch, and you know, like sushi, she kept saying like, oh, you know, I don't want sushi to come ever to our house because I'm sure she'll smash things because she's bipolar. I'm like, dude, sushi has never like destroyed my shit out of like anger, and sushi has never done that in life. And she's like, well, you know, she'd do that, right? Because she's bipolar, so she'd do that. And I'm like, nigga, you're fucking autistic, and your fucking husband has done like awful shit. Like I can say the same exact thing about you. It's like, what the fuck do you want me to do? Like what do you want me to fucking do here? Like, and like and then when I say that to her, her response is just like, well, it's different actually. It's actually very different. And I'm like, how is it different? Your nigga fucking has done actually awful shit, and like you alone too have done awful shit. Like if I and it's like I can't. And when she responds like that, she's like, what awful shit have I done? They're just lying about me. I can leak it, and you just look stupid, nigga. Like it's like so fucking annoying.
I understand that. I understand the rage about it. I understand the double standard. I get all of that. I even get wanting to say all that shit because you want to like prove your point and whatever. I just don't think going down that path, it really like fixes anything for you. I think it just makes everything worse for everybody. Like it's really, really tough. I don't expect you to Gandhi it. I don't expect you to say nice things about Melina. I don't expect you to be her friend. I don't expect none of that. But like, if you believe that what she's doing is wrong, and the whole time she was doing it when you were friends with her about all these different people, that all the times that she did it, that was wrong, I think you don't want to lose yourself in this. Like if all of that was wrong when she did it, it's still going to be wrong when you do it, and her doing it doesn't mean that you should. I think you got to be like...
Here's the thing. Okay, I know, and I 100% get that. And in a sober mind, I'll be honest, yes, that's the way. But when... like Booksmarts, if you legitimately have like unironically, Melina is Bob 7. I'm not like, this isn't a joke. Like Melina goes to people and just tries to change their opinion of people, and if they counter, she'll just say, well, they're just like a piece of shit, and she will go on for like hours about them and leak personal stuff. I know too much about NNN I didn't want to fucking know. I did not want to fucking know any of this shit. I know too much about Biscuit Raider that I did not want to fucking know. I know too much about Bone that I did not want to know. I did not ask or inquire. She just gave me this information because she has nothing else going on in her life. So when I'm telling you that like when I think of myself as those people, it pisses me off. And like again, you can say like, oh, like you shouldn't react the same way, but it's like, dog, like she's gonna get involved with more people based on lying to them. She's gonna be like, oh, you know, Darius, he's like a bad person. I'm gonna trust Melina more because she's giving me all this information that we're close, okay? But like the issue is, and that's just gonna hurt more people, because what Melina does is she gets information from people and then she goes and gossips about it to multiple fucking people, and it's like that's her whole prerogative, because she has, again, nothing interesting going on in her life.
Okay, hold on.
People's drama.
I'm going to force us to take a few breaths, and I am going to mute it just so you're not tempted. Let's just take 3 breaths in and out. It seems gay. It seems retarded. Let's just do it, okay? And we'll see where we get back to after that. Sound good?
Yes.
All right. All right. No. I've muted it because we are going to do breaths, okay? Because it's going to help. It's going to help. I have the same stuff you have. It helps me. I think it'll help you. It'll help this. Let's just like do 3, okay? And we'll just chill out for like 2 seconds. All right. No, you didn't even have time to do 1. Okay, just keep going. Okay. So we're having him take a little bit of a break, because the more mad we get, the more crazy things get, the more things will be said that, like he said himself, in a sober mind, he probably wouldn't do it. I get you guys want drama. but like, I just don't want people's lives to be ruined any more than they're already ruined about this. I don't want him leaking a bunch of stuff about Melina that like fucks with her. I don't want her leaking shit about him that fucks with him. Obviously, that's not good either.
The thing is,
Hold on. Where's your water? No, I'm going to make you do breaths if you come back in yelling, okay? We have to chill out a little bit or we're not going to be able to talk.
Okay. My thing is that Melina will do it regardless. Melina, unironically, since not being in Sweden, does not have a life that is worth talking about if it's not involved in some sort of drama. So what happens is, unironically, since last year, I have heard too much about people in her life that I fucking want to hear about.
That's fine. Let me ask a question or two about that.
Sweden, I got told all the things she was doing with her friends, all the things she was doing in Stockholm or wherever the fuck that place is. I got told all these things, her cute little apartment, all the cute little flowers, all this stuff. And I genuinely enjoyed it. But what has happened since that has disconnected and she's been stuck in this fucking country and she deals with these fucking losers who are literally...
I've muted you. I've muted you. We have to chill. One thing that I'll say is like, you were aware, and this isn't to blame you, but you were aware through your relationship with her. She's talking shit about this person, talking shit about this person. I just, assuming that's all true. I'll just assume all that's true. Like, I think one lesson just for you personally, because I really want to separate it from Melina and just like talk to you as like a human. Like if you ever get a friend that's like that and they're talking shit about like all these other people, like hella hardcore all the time, you kind of have to make the assumption if you ever get on their bad side, you're going to be the subject of that. So
yeah,
in the future,
my thing is that I didn't think I'd get on the bad side of this person by telling them something that kind of was already like in our relationship. Like when these are like when I told everything relatively got really bad. Once I told her I was like infatuated with her, and again I even clarified it's not what she thought it was. And like this is like the context. Like I sent her a message. This is the context of our relationship. Melina would tell me shit like, "You're so magical to me. Like everything. It's like another universe with you." It's like shit like that. She would just message me, and like our context of our relationship. Like when I hear that stuff, I'm like, okay, dude, I'm kind of like have a fiance. I don't want to date you, or whatever. But I'm like, okay, I get what you're saying. Like you just like hanging out with me. That's all cool. Like I get the context of what the fuck is going on, right? Like Melina did that. Yeah, she did fucking say it. And when she's saying this stuff, I'm like, okay, cool. Like I get what you're saying. I'm not gonna fucking sit there. Who talks like that? Melina. And it's like when I understand this is how you have talked to me, I understand where your limitations go. I know you're not gonna leave Steven for me. I know you're not gonna change your life for me. I know that's not gonna happen. It's like I get that. I get that. Melina gave Darius a laptop battery. Was that Dan's laptop battery? She kept talking about that. I remember. That was like last year. I don't think I ever took that. She kept saying Dan gave her a laptop
Let's
battery.
not ADHD out. Let's ignore the chat, okay? I'm not even reading the chat. I'm just focused on you.
Yeah.
So...
She gave it to Sushi, I think. Gone?
Yeah. One thing that we got way derailed from that I do want to talk with you about is I understand the frustration when you have an internal feeling that nobody else can know, that you can't really prove empirically to anybody, that you're trying to put forward and explain, like you're trying to have a heart-to-heart with thousands of people, and nobody believes that what you're saying is true. And they're believing another narrative that is based on like the same shakiness as your own from your perspective. Because I've had that happen before, like specifically in DGG. So I can relate to you on that. But the unfortunate thing is there isn't anything you could really do about it. And the more time you spend like concerned about it or yelling about it or whatever, you run the risk of every point you make making you look worse, which happens a lot in the conversation you had with Melina and with Steven and Dan. Is like, yeah. If we keep jumping between points, since they're not going to believe you, any point that you make could only be used against you. It's like giving answers to the police, like.
Well, that's what I say. Like, shouldn't I just write something up then? It kind of has all the points and then
No. You're missing the heart of what I'm saying, right? The more that you say that you put out there, if people already don't want to believe you because they have to make an assumption about like something inside of you that you can't prove, what you're giving them can only hurt you. So I would just be like really aware of that. And that's not even talking about how like this stuff you could put out could hurt you and could make people think you're crazy, could make them think you're a leaker, could make them think like all this shit about you. They could interpret the messages that you put forward or that you leak about you even worse.
Here's the trade-off that I think about then. So Melina says Darius is a liar. He's lying about things. I epically own Melina by leaking something. I get called a leaker, but Melina's epically owned. I'm gonna take the path where Melina's epically owned every single time, I think, because that's fine by me, I think.
But she was your friend like 2 days ago, dude. Like
she
a
was
good
my friend
friend.
like 2 days ago, but then she wants to consistently, like I said, she wants to consistently go on and say like I'm a liar. She wants to go around and talk. I know she's talking to people in DMs about like fucking me. It's like.
But you're becoming her by doing this. Like that's the thing is like you're losing yourself in doing that. Just despite somebody that at this point you don't really care about anymore. Like based on what you're willing to do. So like, man, it has a lot of like negatives for you as a person. And then other people can look at you and say, well, what is the difference between you and Melina if you just leak and vent all this fucking shit to everybody? Like, what am I going to think if I'm friends with you? Because if they've learned the lesson that I mentioned to you of like,
I'd rather people not be friends with me. I mean, like I said, I'd rather just like, I'd rather not fucking deal with this internet shit. To be quite honest.
Then
so,
I
like,
would cut your losses and not get involved with it anymore, rather than like drop a nuke on the way out.
That's what the drop a nuke on the way out. Is that what you just said?
I would rather you just like leave peacefully than drop a nuke on the way out. Yeah.
Okay.
Because like the thing is the nuke hurts more than like just her. Like it could hurt you too. And like it can hurt future prospects you have for things even more than they're already hurt. You know, like it can do so much to so many different people. Like it might even hurt the people that she was talking shit about that don't want their shit aired either. Like you mentioned Eris, like, you know, I just think it's a really crude and cruel thing to do. I would just avoid it, you know? I think that's the better thing to do here. And like you said, when you're of sober mind, that's where you're at. So I would try to like keep centering back to that like.
Yeah, but then I keep going back every time. Like even this morning I wake up and she's like, I'm like, dude, I'm like, at sober mind, I'm like, okay, dude, like I just want everything to drop and then that's it. That's the end of the conversation. And if she's not going to talk about it, I'm not going to do it. That's the end of the day. But then I wake up, I go to I go ahead, I get linked to the fucking, I get send a message actually on Twitter of someone saying, dude, Melina's again talking about fucking shit again, just fucking nuke her, dude. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I go look at the logs and she's like, oh, they're liars. I can't believe you guys believe their lies. Like STDs, why even bring that up? Like, it's like, okay, dude, like it's like if that's what's gonna go ahead and you're gonna say, again, like it's nothing, it's fucking whatever, but like it's like, again, it's like whatever, like she still looks like a fucking retard at the end of the day, but it's like, listen, dude, I just want you to stop talking, and if I need to mock you or like leak stuff to make you stop talking, then I guess that is what it is. So if she wants to go ahead and say like, why bring STDs up, I'll give you why. I'll tell you exactly why. and then after that,
it doesn't accomplish that though, right? Like you're assuming that if I do this, she'll shut the fuck up. I don't think one leads to the other.
She'll get off this point of, I don't know why they brought up STDs, because then she'll have the reason why.
No, because then she'll explain all of the things that you said, and if people are already on her,
it takes like 2 seconds to explain. That's why I'm like, if I had said this like real quick, it would like literally she just get off it.
Yeah, I don't think that's like I don't think that's what we want to be putting out into the world, Darius. I think you know that too. So it's like I feel like I'm dealing with the Hulk, like, but like Dr. Bannon is underneath there.
Yeah, no, I get that, but it's like when the time is wasted. Like the thing is, I don't want to say I'm under this like thought of like talk hit shit get hit or whatever, but like it's really what like I feel like or whatever. At least that's really what I'm like getting from like everything. At least is that like if it's like it's really what I'm feeling, and I'm like I don't like, and like I said, a sober mind, I'd rather just like move past it and just like let it be. But it's like it's really fucking hard to just like ignore somebody that's like trying to actively like make you out to be like a liar, you know, a piece of shit, and then not be like, you know what, dude, if you're just gonna go ahead and do that, just like just counter it.
Okay. Well, let's move on to something that might be more cathartic to talk about, because we'll just keep looping on, like, I know you're hulking right now, but Steve Bannon, when he, wakes up nude in the middle of a field somewhere, will realize, like, what the right decision is. And I just got to have faith in Steve Bannon.
Like Melina goes on to say, she says, if I defend myself, they'll say shit like I have FTD or leak shit about other people. It's like, that's not the case. You just can't defend yourself. There's nothing for you to defend yourself on.
All right, well, we'll just move past that, because man, if we're talking about something like leaking STDs of people, maybe it's just that I'm a normie, but like, man, it's just, it's so.
Can you be mute for like 2 seconds?
Okay, it's muted. Yes. Okay. Now that makes sense to me, Darius. Can I unmute you and you not talk about that again? Because I understand your whole point now. I think we can still talk about this without talking about that in specific. Okay. So you are unmuted, so please none of that, because I really don't want to be the channel that you did that shit on. You know what I mean? Because we both know that's not cool. Yeah, it feels really bad when you're trying to explain all that. Another thing is like this infatuation point, like her not knowing what the word means and then getting a definition from somebody that makes you look like you're obsessive or whatever. I was cringing the whole time that happened, because it's like she doesn't even know what the word means. Is nobody that is like English as a first language gonna like step in this conversation and be like, no, him using infatuation is the right thing to do, because he's communicating like a very specific thing. Like an infatuation is a very specific thing compared to like a crush, or compared to like liking someone or loving someone. To jump to like the other end of the spectrum when he's saying something at the beginning, or to like perceive that as like he's trying to like test the waters to see if he could say love, I feel like it's really unfair to you in a way that like I didn't feel like through everybody else's arguments that it was reasonable to do that to you. But I'm also like the empathy guy and whatever. I just imagine if I'm in your shoes and that's the truth, and you actually were just like infatuated, so you're worried that you would be touchy or grabby because that's going on with you, then like that's like you worded it exactly how I would. And if other people aren't convinced with that, there's nothing else you could say. And that felt really bad to see.
Yeah, and it's like for that to be the reason why also you're like, I just don't want to go through, you're too much, you're too in love with me. It's like, what do I say? Especially when like the message I posted in this chat, when that's like the context of our relationship, like you really want to say like I'm the one that's too like in love, like I'm the one that's too like invested. Like when you're messaging me shit, like how, like this has like been our like this sort of dialogue has been like what we talked like through our entire relationship. Has her being things like I really miss you, like I really want you here, like stuff like that. Like I really miss like things when how we had that time or whatever, like the tents or whatever. Like she'll say things like that, and I'll reciprocate, and that's always been our communication. And then when it's brought up again in a mode where like she's not in that same headspace or whatever, that's like fine. But it's like to not have that same like respect or even like understanding of me and then move on from that just because you had like some bad relationships within the last year is like, I don't know, it's just fucked up for me. And then like I have to like sit there and like explain myself, and I did. I explained everything I said, but I still wasn't heard out. And it's like, what do you do? And then but like the comment, the takeaway from all this, like she messaged me privately. I was like, oh, like after like she talked to my dog or whatever, I was like, are we not friends or something? Like what the fuck happened? She's like, I don't want to. It's too much. I feel used. I feel like you wanted to fuck me. And then I said no. And I was like, what? And she says, I don't want to talk about it. And then she went, I'm going to bed. And then like, I'm like, dude, I get it. I really do fucking get it. I really fucking get it, but it's like, what am I supposed to fucking, like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Like, I literally can't do anything for somebody that I spent so much time in or do anything with, and I'm not getting, like, it seems like the relationship is just like, it's shriveled, and I don't know if it's like my fault or if it's just because like that's who you are now.
Or, based on all the other explanations you gave and your desire to drop a nuke or whatever, or to say all these things about other times she shit talked, it was something that was apparent to you like the entire time you were friends with her and stuff, right? It's just it turned on you in a way that you never thought it would. And so now, moving forward, like if I pick up these... Oh, go ahead.
This disrespect happened before any of that stuff even happened. Like when she started talking about like before the dog thing, like I've been like messaging her and been like, hey, like, are you good? The only thing, and she's known about like my whole stuff because I made it all public. I've like told her how I was suicidal and stuff like that, or whatever. So like she's had opportunities to like talk to me about stuff before I like kind of like got pissed off, which is when she started talking about my dog, and I was like, fuck you. And then she went like crazy on me saying how I'm like a fucking idiot that just keeps making dumb decisions in my life.
Yeah, that sounds like it's like a straw that breaks a camel's back type thing. Like it sounds like she's stressing secondhand over like the different things going on in your life. And if she thinks that you're contributing to that, she's constantly counseling you on ways of making it better, like encouraging you to break up with Sushia or whatever. Yeah, and she's not making any ground. Like you can understand the frustration there, right? Like she's doing everything she could as a friend.
Yeah, no, and I can 100% get that, but then when like it dwells into like other dumb shit, where then she starts talking about how like I used her to fuck, and she refuses to like understand me. It's like, dog, where's that respect that I gave you?
Oh yeah,
like,
but that's because we passed like the aggression point, like with you and the nuke thing, right? Like
the day of the dog. This is like the day of the dog, and it's like that's what she was telling me this.
Yeah,
this is why, like before I.
But that's what I'm saying is like if the straw broke the camel's back at the dog point, then she's in this aggro space, right? And just like when you were in the aggro space earlier, you're considering and saying things that are like really, really mean. And it's because you're in this aggressive like phase. And if she's moving between emotions and that impacts like how she's treating people, how she speaks about people, whatever, that we could understand that's going to happen if she's frustrated or upset with you, right?
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree if this was before the like real aggression started. I think her going out of her way to go ahead and like talk shit about like my dog situation, call me like an idiot that just keeps making dumb decisions before that aggression even started shows that like any aggression that I have now, like she can do whatever after that if she wants to, but like the aggression I have now is more than warranted. And then if she wants to get mad, then I'm upset because she wants to decide to like publicly go and shit on me or whatever and join like a circle jerk for somebody who's supposed to be like my closest friend and like one of her closest friends at the time, then like it is what it is. Like hold on like you want me to like what you're saying is like I like this is like a perfect scenario. Like I just kind of understood she was upset and then like accepted it and then like not reacted at all when like she's doing the same exact thing.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. Do you think when she sent those messages in DGG that she anticipated that would upset you as much as it did?
I think she anticipated that. No, but after I gave my response to it, I think so.
Okay, and let me ask like a follow-up to that. So like if she really didn't think it would have upset you that much, is she really being like that aggressive when she says it? Because I feel like the aggressive like reading of it is coming from like how much it had upset you. But if she said it at the time and she didn't think it would upset you that much, and that's kind of her headspace when she posts it, maybe she doesn't even feel like she's being aggressive. Maybe she's not being aggressive. Maybe it's like kind of like a tame but shitty thing to say, and she is jumping on the back of a bunch of other people and not realizing how much that would hurt your feelings when you saw it. Like that was my read on it. Is like, to me it didn't seem like it was that big of a thing, but I understand why you were upset. I just don't think that she was like being super aggro when she posted it, or that she wanted to like drop the hammer and fight with you. Like it felt like she was just frustrated with other stuff that she knows from behind the scenes, like talking with you about Sushia, and that she dropped a comment that she probably thought was innocuous or whatever when she had said it, right?
Okay, yeah. And again, so it is a place of a frustration then, and I'm frustrated with her. It's like I'm saying when I don't understand. It's like the same thing we said about me when I'm responding to her. Like it's like I'm frustrated that she would not take me into consideration, so I go ahead and like respond back. Can not say what he said.
Yeah, and like at the point where like you read that as being super aggressive, right? And it really hurt your feelings, like, and that's totally valid. And then you respond in kind. She, at step A, didn't think it was that bad or aggressive. So when she sees the aggression at step B, she's at the same place you were at step A. She's like, wow, dude, this dude's being super aggressive to me. And he's like burning this bridge and whatever. So I'm going to respond in kind. Like, hearing you say the things that you said about her on stream, when she finally got into the conversation, it's a bit more understandable why then she would say these things that maybe she was holding back, or could have been negative interpretations she had about your actions that are totally unfair. Because at that point, now both of you are being super aggressive and like making the situation worse and heightening it. And now we're at the point where you want to drop secret stuff about STDs and whatever, and like be the final person to do the worst thing. And like this whole thing spiraled out of control from a point where, like, if she could go back and do that again, I don't even think she would have said the message knowing where it led, right? Like,
sure, but then it's like where she's like telling me that like she was with my friend because she feels like she was used, and then when I talk to her about stuff, she's still gonna believe she's used. And like, what do I do? I guess you could just say that it's at a point where like we couldn't even have a conversation about it because of what's it called. But it seemed more like Melina's gotten to a point where like she has more friends now that she are just like replaceable to her, so she doesn't really give a fuck about our friendship as much as she let on.
well, and
At least.
yeah, I get that feeling. And I think now that she knows how you feel about this stuff, and granted, it's come out in like a really shitty way to have to learn about different insecurities like both of you have, or different like pain points both of you have. Like for you, this idea of like being replaceable, I keep hearing is something where that makes you feel really bad. If you feel like at any point somebody could just swap me in for somebody else and have the same good time and forget about me, that makes you feel really shit. I think time heals stuff, and only time will tell if you guys are able to like reconnect. Like, before this, you guys had a really close relationship, and you hit a bad point here. But like, if we look at the bad points you've had with Sushia, or the bad points she's had with Steven, if there's one thing I know about both of you, it's that in spite of having like awful shit happen with somebody that you're friends with or somebody that you're in love with, like you guys seem to be able to bring it back at some point. It just takes time. So like, if you do want to keep being friends with her, or you do want to like explain this stuff and be heard, I think what you have to do is you have to wait a bit, right? You have to let her go be with the other friends and vent and go through her healing process, which you're intimately aware of because she's done that with you with other people, even if you think it's shitty. And then, you know, maybe it'll circle back, and then you guys can talk when time has let this stuff cool off a bit, and you can explain what made you upset and her what made her upset. And then there's less like tension on all of that. There's less like consequences to all of that. You guys are going to be less like invested in it because now you've moved on a little bit, and then maybe you could be friends again. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought about that relatively. I said the point I'm at right now is just like it's like really hard when like to just like because like what has to happen is I have to be the bigger person and just like ignore literally everything that she says. And then when she has like a stream right after, and she's like with like 3 of her mods, and they're all calling her retarded, and she's like, well, I actually didn't do that, I didn't mean that, actually I didn't.
Can we
do
not
this.
do
And they're
the
all-
voice? It is a little bit mean. Because she
sorry,
she
it's
doesn't really talk like that either.
She does fucking talk like that, dude. She's fucking. It's like, it's so it's like when she's doing that stuff, I'm like, okay, cool, like whatever, dude. And it's like, but it's like so like depressing because it's like, it's just like so disheartening, and I need to be able to control my myself, I guess. But like, and it's been like, I think like what'll happen because like I know to this day like she even talks about like Bob 7 like and that shit was fucking awful what he did and like what he was doing, and it's like and she talks about that stuff and she still talks highly on it, and that's why I'm like, dude, I don't even think this will be like a big thing, probably like 6 fucking months, because she's like addicted to people that hate her or whatever, and it's like fine, but like it's like I don't know, dude, it's really hard for me to like just look at dumb shit and then be like, okay, dude, like you're gonna like I can't comment on it. I don't know. I just need to. I guess I just need to work on that. I guess. And I legitimately need to just leave this here for like a good week. Like I tried leaving too, and then I got like I even said like I put a tweet out because I was like yesterday. I was like, dude, I'm just gonna get off the internet for like a week or something like that and be cool. And then I get a DM from fucking know you telling me to fucking pay for the trip that she fucking wanted to go on, and I'm like, dog, no way, no way. No way you unironically had the audacity to do this. And then she retracts it like fucking 5 minutes later.
Are
And
we
I'm like,
leaking stuff right now? Is that
not
a
leaked.
leak?
I already posted the log there, and then
Okay.
and I already posted the log of DGG like yesterday. And then she tried to excuse it by saying he offered to do it. I'm like, dude, like when I was sitting there having a call with you, and I was like telling you like, okay, dude, like how much do I owe you? And you're like not responding to me at all. You're like, I'm like, how much do I owe you to not be mad at you? I was like not saying like, okay, I'll pay for everything or whatever. Let's go ahead and do this. I'm just telling you like, how much do I owe you for me to be justified in being me mad at you? Because you keep saying I paid for this, I paid for this, paid for this as like a way to say like, oh, like you went out of your way to go in and do things. When like again, I don't like.
Did you say that you'd pay though?
I said how much I didn't say that I would pay for like fucking the Airbnb or stuff like that ever. I said how much would it be to be able to be mad at you? Because if there's an amount that it needs for me to be justified in being mad at you, I will pay that.
Well, okay. So did you tell her that you would pay the 600 like at that point, or did you say it before?
I never in the life that I'd ever tell her that I would pay her Airbnb or pay for the what's it called. I said how much does it cost for me? If you go back in the VOD when I was talking to her, how much would it cost for me to pay you for we're good so you don't have to bring up money? Because when you're offering for me things, when you've offered to pay for this, you've offered to pay for that, you can't later on be like, oh, this is like I offered to pay this stuff, so like you shouldn't be mad at me. And it's like, and she's like, well, I never complained about anything, and I do all this stuff. I'm like, dude, like I never complained about you or whatever. And I'm like, dude, like if there's an issue you have with me, I'd love for you to voice it. And like when you have an issue with me and I voice it, I can't just say like, well, Melina paid for me to go on a flight with her to Austin, Texas for 3 days, so I have to I can't be mad at her.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know.
I have to talk to Relevant about this later tonight, and I think that's probably going to be the end of it. Because like,
Oh.
I think after this conversation, what I need to do is I need to unironically like disconnect myself from DGG, which sucks because that's what I do like while I'm like sitting there job searching, you know, chilling, doing fucking whatever. I just have DGG up in the background, but like, and then like I have people that come to me and like show me shit that she's saying, so I need to just like mute at all or just ignore messages for like a week so that way I can just like blow over because like that's just what I need to do, and I think that's just it is what it is.
Okay.
Because it's like it's so corny. Like she's this like fucking bitch, dude. She would like even with like the
come on now.
and even like the Anna Frill shit, dude. Like she's sitting there like there's so like she's addicted to hate. So like I know even right now she's watching. She literally back when Anna was having things, she would watch.
I'm muting that because people don't need to hear this stuff, you know? Like I thought we're on the same page of like we just gotta chill out. We got to like realize that we're in a position where we're going to probably make bad decisions about how to handle this. We got to wait, let shit chill out, come back after a bit of a break, right? Like,
yeah.
And
I get what you're saying.
that's why I worry about this irrelevant thing. Like, what are you gaining from that? Because it seems antithetical to like what you.
Me and Irrelevant me and Irrelevant used to live together, and I'm just more curious on like his opinion on like if I like just disconnect. Because when I talk to Destiny's opinion is that I had more feelings and expectations than I let on, and that I'm just not being vocal about it, or I didn't know about it. Is at least what it seems like. Because when we talked on that morning, like yesterday, he just said like, well, it seems like this, and I'm like, well, that's not what was going on. This is the context of a relationship, and I'm like, am I like just actually fucking retarded? Like I don't know if I'm getting gaslit or like what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Because I'm like.
Do you,
know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. You're gonna talk with Relly like off stream, right? For sure.
He said he's gonna watch the videos off stream, and we can do it. He said you can do it off stream or on stream. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, and it shouldn't matter to you either, right? Like if anything, you should prefer to do it off stream. That way you can talk about anything you need to talk about. Do your venting, do your leaking, like what Melina does, and nobody gets hurt. He can give you an honest impression of the situation, and then you can start this process of like cooling off and backing off from DGG for a bit, even though that sucks, and then seeing where time takes things, right? Because all I'm trying to make sure, and like I know we don't know each other like super well. I believe in this thing where like I think I could have easily been born into your body in the same way you could have been born into mine, and just like give advice that I think would help me if I were like living in your situation. And I think the main takeaway from this is I don't want you to drop some nuke that like fucks everybody, including yourself, or like, you know, makes it to where you can't be friends with this lady who it seems like you liked before this like quite a bit. And so, you know, I'm just trying to give you some advice that'll stop you from doing any of that. And going off stream with Relly to talk about this means you could put everything on the table that you want to, not worry about the repercussions to like the broader shit or your odds of like being friends with her again. And then that'll probably be like the best course of action, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's like the best course of action. The best course of action would be to do a lot of the stuff off stream, do a lot of the stuff I've done off stream. Yeah, the more I sink myself into a hole, the worse it gets. But like, yeah, there's no but.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, it's so hard when like somebody you know that interacts with like, oh shit, I just got a credit on my shit. Someone that you know like sits there and like talks to every like this person like someone who like talks inside to other people, like what, like you know how someone behaves and you didn't like their behavior in the first place, but they behave this way and you know how they act, and it's like you didn't like this trait and you know this trait is so toxic and how they're going to treat you. It's like if you know your fucking like your best friend like sits there and like loves to talk shit about all their other friends, like they're probably not a good friend and that's not a bad trait for them, but you love them for like all the other things, right?
Yeah.
But this one thing is really bad, and now I've become that one bad thing, and now I'm just a tool for her to generate and gain respect and rep with everyone else. And like the only thing I can hope now is that nobody listens to what she says and does kind of what I did and take everything with a grain of salt. And that's like, but I can't expect that from everybody, because I know like when she talks about other people, I know people take that and they're like, oh, like that's okay, I won't interact with this person anymore. So like if Mel is like talking to like a chick that I'm talking to, or talk to anybody really, and like I interact with that person, like okay, now I can't interact with that person anymore because Mel has now removed that situation there. Because I know she does that with Sushi, and I know like now I'm gonna be that person as well. Because like, she would tell people like fucking like, yeah, Melina's like Sushi's like this crazy awful person. She does all this crazy dumb shit. She's always like leaking stuff, and she's really ready to, you know, she's ready to like destroy everything at any moment. It's like, okay, dude, like. I get like you and her have like a bad past or whatever, but like she's advocating for people not to interact with that person and like telling them not to do that because this is what will happen. And like now I'm part of that loop as well, and it's like the only way for me to combat that is almost to make like a for the record thing that people know, so they're like, okay, I know this person lies about this stuff, this is it. But the only thing that will exist is, I guess, this VOD already exists and people believe me, so I mean I could just leave it at that. But like again, she'll just say I'm lying, and then like I just need to prove it. All the arguments she has are the things that she tells people. So I have to think of like, how can I counter these arguments so when people go and ask me about it, I can go ahead and have this answer. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say right now?
Yeah.
And it's like I don't want to have to do that. I just want to I genuinely do is not have to talk about it after that stream. I would not have to talk about it. But then when she's in chat going like having a stream where she's like with 3 other guys talking about like if my life's fucked and how to fix it, you know, going back in chat and saying like I'm lying, I'm a liar, whatever, blah blah blah, and like I'm just responding every single time, it's like not healthy, and I don't know what the fuck to do. Didn't work for Bob 7, won't work for you, but I'd say probably like here's the thing, Bob 7 was wrong. I'm right though, and
he thought the same thing, man. You know, I don't know.
It's like Bob's thing is that like Bob was like telling other people and talking shit to other people behind the scenes. I don't go out of my way to go talk to like Denims or talk to Anna Frost and say like, yeah, like I've heard Steven's like a really bad guy. Like I don't go out of my way to like fuck with like either one of them in that way. Melina does unironically do that. She'll go to other people that are interacting with people and then tell them like their shit if she's interacted with them. If she's talking to like somebody else and they mention like Sushi, or they mention like, you know, another person, I'm not gonna fucking say their name, she'll go ahead and she'll give you all the deets about them and why they're a bad person. And so what I'm saying is like, so that's why I'm like,
and you don't have Steven as like the prosecuting lawyer either to like put that case together for you and push it to like an audience that'll believe like a lot of what he says and whatever. So like you don't have a lot of the same benefits to like hopefully do what they did to Bob 7, where they prove this, that, and the other thing. And that's another factor. And like why, you know, it's a huge gamble. And like we both said, probably not gonna work out. So you'll talk to Relly and then, you know, you'll just chill out for a bit. And
okay. Can I just, so to be honest, if you didn't bring this up again, everyone will forget in 5 days tops. The thing is like, my thing is that people will forget, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. The problem is Melina doesn't change her behavior after it. And what happens is that worries me, because if I want to stay, it's like, so here's the thing, what I'm trying to say, Booksmarts, because what you're saying is like, this could all blow up and things can be repaired, things can be fixed or whatever, things can like go okay, right? The problem is that when these issues exist with Melina, they just don't stop at like people not talking about it. She goes out of her way to then go ahead and like tell other people like, hey, don't interact with this guy because like XYZBBD enemy, whatever, and like that's like her whole prerogative, and like and it continues to keep going and going and going. So even though people aren't talking about it, she is talking about it, and she's talking to people in my field of streaming. So it's like now I'm dealing with people. Oh, like the bro that let her be toxic on her own. That's what I'm trying to figure out. If like that's the way to let people just figure it out themselves, or like I could just set a record there where it's like she's already established as a fucking liar and a leaker for all of her other things, and then we can just move on. And if I'm listed as a leaker, again, I have nothing to lose. I can just fucking fuck off and then go away, or I can just go ahead and say nothing, let her leak, do whatever, still be in this space, and then find out the hard way that people have these assumptions of me based on what she said.
Yeah, but they exist in both scenarios. And if anything, in the first scenario, she's going to do that even more, right? Like, then she's going to be adamant about it. Then she's going to feel like, I always have to bring this up when his name comes up because he dropped all this shit about me. And then she's in the same position you are. This dude said all this shit. She'll probably disagree with a bunch of it. She'll think you're spinning it, or you're not giving good context to things, or your interpretation is off. And then she'll feel like she has to defend herself because now a bunch of people have misconceptions about her. Like we don't really make the world better by doing that. We make it worse for people that we don't like. And I just don't think like that's a good way to.
Yeah, no, that's what my tweet was about. Because like I think it's like if I release a manifesto, all it's going to do is make people hate Melina more, and it's going to make more toxicity towards her. And I genuinely do not want that. What I genuinely want is for Melina to shut the fuck up. And if I find out, like here's the thing, I can like legit shut up about it, and I'll be cool, I'll be tight. I will legitimately just like not fucking talk at all. I can do that. The thing is that if I ever in my life hear from a third party that Melina has gone ahead and talked about me, I'm going to unironically go full nuclear. Because like that is like a point where it's like, it's like if you heard that she's like down talking shit, like let's say things have died after 5 days, right? And like 3 months later I get on a fucking dating show with CuteBot, and CuteBot's like, oh, Darius, aren't you the guy that like fucking randomly exposed Melina for no reason? And I'm like, dog, are you serious? and then I'm like, okay, cool. And then like I have to now go on and fucking like I have to like sit there and like fucking like I'm like, okay, like you're seriously like, you're talking about me still, and like I'm not going out of my way, like I'm not gonna go and message someone, like someone's not gonna tell me like, oh yeah, like I know Melina, and then I'm gonna go on a fucking rant about how they're an awful person and you should never engage with them. You know, like
so I asked her, okay, I DM'd her, I asked straight up, if he stops with this, will you stop with this for sure? And this could be an Anna situation where it'll be an imperfect stoppature because one person will accidentally say one thing and then one person will accidentally say another, or another streamer will bring it up and then you feel like you need to, you know. So I think that arrangement never ever works. This idea of like, well, if they stop, I'll always stop, right? That never ever fucking works. But like, what will work is it's like that stoic philosophy shit. Like all you have control over is your own bullshit. And like you could live that way and expect that the other person will meet it, but understand that like you only have control over your own shit. Like if she's on that page, all you can say when it's brought up to you that she's continuing to talk shit is like, well, my understanding is her and I are in this deal where I don't say anything, she doesn't say anything. So I would hope that she just knocks it off and realizes that like that's kind of where we left it off at. And I know for sure on my part, I'm going to keep to that agreement. I'm not saying anything because I don't want this to continue. But that's like, and we talk, like my stream is like this a lot. I don't know how familiar you are with it, but like, unfortunately, like we kind of have to give up something to do the right thing in life. And it's going to mean that sometimes we eat a little bit of shit, but that's kind of the cost of doing what we know is right. Like people that do the thing that's right are going to eat shit sometimes. And that's kind of part of the territory, and it is what it is. It sucks, but like life ain't fair, and if we have principles or like ideas and we want to stick to them, like we have to be the bigger person because that's what we put forward in the world. Like imagine everybody who sees that happen, they see that she's still talking about that shit, and then every time it's brought up to you, you do the right thing, right? Like what kind of impression does that leave for people, right? Like so
I have to think about that, but thinking it's like when I think about the impression it brings up for people is like I'm just like not wanting to talk about like bad stuff that I did. I think it's like when you're talking about streamers, at least, like let's say I like fucking irrelevant like decides to approach you like, hey dude, I heard like some pretty crazy shit that you were doing to Steven, and then you're just like, oh wow, I thought we weren't gonna talk about that, dude. Like it's kind of weird. And like I would just assume that you did something bad and you don't want to talk to me about it. If that was me asking you about it or irrelevant asking you about it, I'd assume that you did something fucked up and you thought he would just like sweep it under the rug. You know what I mean? So it's like I feel like I have to like pinpoint it, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I mean, imagine, hold on, maybe there could be something. Maybe, and this is crazy. Maybe there could be a clip of you two just being like, hey, neither of us are going to talk about this. Here's the clip for it. It is done. Mm-hmm. If it ever comes up in the future, we'll bring this up. And we have every permission to call this person a dumb fuck or like something silly. And then just, that's the only thing I could think of. It's goofy, but ultimately you're going to have to eat shit if this comes up again. And it's whatever, okay, dude. You got to live your life, Yeah,
that sucks so much. Okay. So I'm going to take that into consideration. I don't know if I could be that cucked. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I like legitimately like I don't have like anger issues or something like that. But like when shit's like really depressing the fucking me, dude. Like it's like, dude, that is so fucking disrespectful, and so like it pisses me off so much that someone would have the audacity to disrespect me so much that like I would go ahead like after I've been so respectful to someone, for her to disrespect me that much would piss. Like obviously I haven't been respectful these last couple days, but like. For her to go ahead and go out of her way to do that after I've like not talked shit about you, not done anything to other people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, it's like I'm gonna do it. I don't know why people keep saying Anna Frill's same thing. Anna Frill's unironically was like reading Reddit threads, reading Twitter threads, and getting triggered by that. I'm getting triggered by Melina herself saying shit to me to where I feel like I have to respond, and then she keeps pretending like she's just like in hiding. She's acting like she's fucking Keffels, and I'm like fucking gonna fucking get the fucking government against her or like SWAT her or some shit. I just was telling you like, dude, if you want to talk about shit, I'm gonna talk about shit, but you're not gonna like it because everything has to do with shit that you've done with other people and why I think you're a fucking bad friend. It's like. And like when I talk about like how I hate how you just talk about other people, I have to give points for that because you're gonna say I didn't do it, and that's what you've been doing. Is saying I don't do that. Okay, then why do I know this bit of information about somebody? Why do I know this bit of information about somebody? And I know it not because we're close friends, but because you just decide to talk about things because you want to leak stuff. That's your jerk off. It's just leaking stuff about other people because you want to discuss.
And that's not a fun path to have to go down, right? Of like trying to prove it. And then people don't even believe you, which hurts you even more. Like there are going to be people
for everything.
Well, I know, but when you were sharing logs earlier, they didn't always support you. Different people read them different ways. And that's what I'm saying, like talking to the police, like everything you say can and will be used against you. So like, then you just enter the cycle where you're wasting a bunch of your energy and your time on this lady that you don't think is worth it. And it's hurting you and it's making your life like worse. Like when you could have spent the same amount of time, like enjoying the dog that you just paid fucking like $13,000 in total for care for it. Right. Or you could enjoy like your relationship with Sushi, or you could go do shit like remember when you're talking about how Melina's life seemed a lot better when she was in Sweden and she was talking about flowers and her friends and whatever. Like that's what I want for you, is to like not have to be drama about all these fucking people and have to live that life because it's fucking miserable. And you know that.
Yeah, I did that even last night, dude. It's like, so it's cringe that my whole weekend was encapsulated by this autism, and like on top of like my dog situation, like I already have so many other issues that I have going on in my life that I need to figure out. It's like this being part of it, and like it is engulfing my head, but it's like I understand it also does it to Melina because I know Melina again. I know fucking Melina's watching because she literally jerks off this shit. But like,
it's about her. Yeah. You would watch the same shit about you. That's why you're here in my no-name channel, right?
Yeah, but then I would rather her just like talk to me and we could just squash it then.
Yeah, it's just you can't do that right now. It has to be in the future when you both chilled out. And like you understand from her life because she's been telling you all of her stories about her struggles in her life and why shit's going to be fucked for her, why she's in a bad emotional spot for it. You are obviously in a hugely bad emotional spot for any of this, which like, you know, people aren't going to be empathic to you, but I understand. You just have this whole situation where within minutes you thought you were going to have to kill your dog, and then your dog was saved by the gracious fucking donation of some stranger on the internet, right? And then you had your best friend like pile on to you in this conversation and come out as like maybe not even being your best friend, and then you have Steven like not really being on your side about it, and you have Dan and these other people in the conversation trying to like drive up drama about it, and now you're having to talk with me and you're contemplating it. Like you're going through so much shit, and this is setting aside like personal life stuff I don't know about with Sushiya and, you know, work or whatever else. You know, like both of you are just not in like a good place to handle this, but maybe you will be in the future when you have like some distance from it.
Yeah, which is why if there is a time in the future, it just sucks because it seems like that would be already irreparable, because I would be vehemently against it because I know how the nature of which she acts. And that's why I'm like, I want things to be not as bad as they are now, and I want things to just be dropped, and then later on we could just talk about it. But it's like, as things are, yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll just have to. I think I'll just be an incel for like 6 months, and then like maybe things will. Maybe I'll care less, because here's the thing. Melina like talks to women and then she goes and does this stuff. So like if I'm an incel, I already hate women, so I'm already gonna have a negative opinion of them. So instead of them caring that, you know, I whatever they're gonna say, like I lied or did all that shit that Melina would tell them, instead they'll just be like, oh, he's an incel, so I just don't care. So I think that's probably the best method to go going forward.
You talked about not being a DGGer, and here we are. The solution the whole time was to become a DGGer. There you go.
So I'll look into that. Okay, yeah. I apologize for getting heated or whatever, and yeah.
It's so emotions, man. Like they take hold of us. They're the fucking curse on humanity, right? Like,
yeah. It's just like so. It's like so fucked when like you're the one. I feel like I'm the one who kind of got fucked with. Like pretty much like it's incredibly hard, and then, like I kind of retaliated ridiculously, and like I feel bad for it, right? But then to like have zero understanding and like no understanding at all, and this like even Steven like understands my side, but then Melina is like going off, and like someone that I guess I thought was really smart, and I know they don't see, just like they're not one dimensional, they just refuse to, and I still to this day they see her point. I see why she would act the way that she was. I see the way she would react the way she was, but she doesn't see that from me at all, and it's like. I guess I was just like, it just feels really bad because I feel like I wasted so much of my time, had so many arguments, had so much, you know, I just wish I could take all that time back that I spent. Like I wish I spent those 3 days going to the gym every day or doing literally anything else. Like if I didn't go on this trip, none of this would have happened, and like I would have been probably fine. She probably would have still been obsessed over like messaging me every time her and Steven had an issue, and it all would have been probably just fine. And like. She probably would have still messaged me, I love you. You know, it's like all that stuff would like fucking still exist if I just didn't go on this trip. And it's like, it's just where my thought goes, and it just sucks.
Yeah. And one thing I would say is like, you know, it is kind of like somewhat a two-way street of letting this one thing destroy everything, right? Like you both have to agree that it is what destroys the relationship between the two of you. So I mean, like, you know, it doesn't have to. We can't see the future. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. And this wish that you have that you would have spent all this time doing something else and whatever because of the way that you feel right now, like just imagine like you're free to do that now for, you know, the next however many months that you want to take off and chill out, you know, like now you know that this had happened and you've learned a few things.
I think I'll probably talk to Relevant in a much more calmer way. I already took Adderall, so it's extended relief, not IR, so I will be probably good for that conversation. So I will be in probably a lot more chill of a mind space and just more talk about like just like actions forward rather than like specifics or whatever, and then that'll be probably the end of it, and I'll probably just have to work on this project that I'm doing anyway. So
there you go, you have something to distract yourself. And I would really implore you, Darius, like again, we're not super close, right? But like at a human level, I would really encourage you to just try to do it off stream. You know that Relly would be down for it. You know that that's probably the best outcome that you could have. Like that's all I would say about that. I'm happy that you have somebody to talk to and you're really close with him, and I'm sure it'll help you through this. And he's a chill guy. I love Relly to death. But yeah, I would just really advise to just do it off stream. That way you don't get any of this fallout. She doesn't have any more stuff to respond to, you know, like. Just let
Yeah.
it die on this no-name fucking dying streamer's
yeah.
channel.
I already know. What'll happen is if I go ahead and talk about things like publicly, like literally what I thought about doing, and what I was just gonna do is I was just gonna make like a statement that's kind of pinpoints like what our relationship was like, and kind of going into everything, like, and then how kind of things in Austin went, and then how it led to the dog thing, and then going on there, and that kind of just being it, just being like, hey, this is where Melina kind of was a bad friend, and this is why everything else kind of ensued. I don't justify my behavior of telling her to kill herself or anything like that afterwards. I was incredibly heated, and I think it's incredibly disrespectful they did that for someone that I did care about a lot. But like, not but again, this is all just a reaction to feeling incredibly hurt because my friend has somewhat abandoned me after I've done this, and this. I've been with them through things that have been almost 10 times more emotional than that. Like, and it's like to the point, like it's like to almost an extreme point. And it's like, I guess like that's like, yeah, but it is what it is. What it is. So
Yeah.
I will. I'm not gonna. I shouldn't do that because again, it'll just cause more conversation about her like finding something that may be like she misremembered or something like that. Like when we're talking about like the touching thing and like stuff like that, she's
We
like,
don't
oh,
we
well,
don't need to get
don't-
back into it.
Yeah, it's like it's
you know,
like
because we'll go on all
there's-
night. You know.
Yeah, like a contradiction or something, and I'm like, dude, like, there's no way. Like, I can remember this so vividly, and it's like I'm just getting told, like it feels like it's not. I know it's not lies. I know it's just like what her in her brain she thought she did, and she's not trying to actively lie. She's not trying to like hurt me. She's not trying to make me look bad. It's just that she just genuinely believes this, and it's like, I want you to know that I'm the correct one here. I remember this very vividly, and it's like I can't.
You
get
can't
that
do
through.
anything about it. You know, you're behind
Yeah.
like a glass wall, and all you can do is
Yeah.
pound away, and nobody's listening. And that is what it
and
is.
that's just what hurts the most is that I can never get through to someone that I could get through to before, and because of a situation that happened that was a little bit awkward for her, I've lost that connection and I've lost that reach I had before, and that just feels really fucking weird, and it really sucks. Just because this was like someone that I did consider my best friend for like a long time.
Gotcha. And can I guarantee to her that like this rally thing will be off stream? I know I keep harping on that. I just really want to confirm that that's off stream, right?
What?
Your rally thing will
You
be
still
off
lag?
stream? Yeah, I had lag. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. The rally thing will be off stream, correct?
Are you talking to her?
Yeah, she's like DMing me a bunch of stuff.
Wait, what's she DMing you?
You know, it's the same shit that you say. You both sound exactly the same. You're just on
so she's just
opposite.
repeating. So she's just repeating what the facts are. Is she giving you the facts?
No, not really. She's just upset. She wants all this stuff to stop, right? Like she more or less the
All this
same
stuff-
shit.
She wants all this stuff to stop because she's worried that it's gonna leak other people, and like again, like
I
it all
don't.
goes-
That's not the vibe that she's giving me.
That's at least what she said in chat. Is like she feels like she can't say anything because I'm gonna leak her whole life, and like again, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna pertain to our conversation, and that's what I plan to talk about. Again, like the STD thing, like again, like I told you.
Don't make me mute this shit, Brad.
Yeah. But like again, like the STD thing, like it's not even like it was like a side piece. Like it wasn't like something like random. It's like has a lot to do with decisions that I'm being accused of by her. So
Okay. Well, your rally thing will be off stream, right? I just really want you to buy into that because we agree on this so much. I just want to talk to Steve Banner.
I will advocate heavily if it's off stream if you can show me what the fuck she said. Because like here's the thing, like if she's just like
I will ask her. I will ask her. Okay. I'll ask her if I can share it.
Because like here's the thing, like I'm not when I talk to Relevant, I'm not even gonna like relatively talk like her, but if I'm gonna just like tell Relevant like, hey, it can't be on stream anymore, or we're gonna send the chat now, I'm like, okay, like is it because like she's not gonna talk, or is it just because like I'm just doing it because I'm just cucking myself? Because I'm not gonna cuck myself right now. At least I'm not in the mood to, at least, but I will, relatively after.
Cool. And as a bargaining chip with Melina, like, can I talk with her about what we talked about the STD thing? Because she seems to be confused about that. Is that okay?
How is she confused by that?
You know what? We all get
can I-
confused for different reasons. Okay. It's totally.
Okay, hold on, wait. Can you mute? Can you mute?
Yes, I'm muted. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in my opinion, you handled all that perfectly fine, dude. I don't think there's anything better you could have done in that situation. Just so that you know. And you won't be able to. I think emotions are standing in the way for a lot of this, bro. Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I totally get that. And you can't answer because you still care. You obviously don't want to reveal that. And, you know, it is what it is. Right. And you don't need to be that person. And if people want to look. Okay. I don't know if I should still keep him muted. He went to go pee. So it sounds like, and you know, she is listening. So obviously, Melina, as soon as I have him off the line, I'll talk to you. Probably, I'll type something to you because I assume you don't want to chat. And if we did, then you know we would be starting shit again. So that's probably not the smartest idea. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what it is. Be what it be. Welcome back. Hello? Sushia, what's up? No. No, that's okay. I'm kidding. Can I unmute you? Are we done with that particular topic? Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. So just going into, I guess, ending things too, just like if you're going to talk to Melina about this, and we're going to come to a conclusion that I'm not going to talk about anything, which is like I'm okay with that. If I ever in my lifetime find out that she is talking to somebody behind the scenes, like let's say I talk to Cupid or whatever, I start talking to some fucking person on Twitch, and they say like, "Oh yeah, Melina told me a ton of shit about you." I'm going to go nuclear.
Bruh, come on. You know that's not...
No. Because like, here's the thing. I'm going to tell you right now what my personal self is going to do, and I'm just telling you. I want to logically think like that's not a good thing, but I'm telling you that is going to piss me off beyond belief. Just because I understand the context of how she talks to people, and that's just like, again, maybe in time that'll change because maybe my mindset will be different, or maybe I'll feel better. But I'm telling you right now, with the mindset I have right now, if I heard that literally tomorrow, I would go nuclear. I would literally... like, not to like affect Steven, but I would just like every fucking fucked up thing she's did with like XYZVB, I would go ahead and just like pull it out.
But it will affect Steven, and you know that too. So I mean,
I do know that, which is what I talked to him about. He said, "Listen, I don't like. I got his blessing. Okay." He said, as long as it's not directly affected to him or it's not something that he's done, he's cool with it. So, and a lot of this stuff isn't stuff that he's done. It's stuff that she's literally done on her own. And so, and she could say, and again, she'll say like, "I haven't done anything. Because she genuinely believes she's not. But I tell you, in public perception, she will be known that she is not good for these things.
Okay, well, so I'll make that clear to her when I talk to her. Okay. Although you and I both know, if you know her as well as you purport to, is very likely this will come up in some conversation with somebody else. So essentially what you're telling me right now is that you're going to end up leaking this no matter what. And I don't agree with that, man.
No, I think it's easy for her not to say things. There's been times where she hasn't told me stuff. right? It's easy. She can do that. She's a
Okay.
fucking grown adult. She can not have to talk shit. If someone talks to me about Melina after today, I'd just be like, yeah, that sucks that we had a falling out, and then that'd be the extent of it. And I'd be like, oh yeah, she's like a cool person. I talk about all the good things about her, and I just be like, okay, yeah, we just had like a really bad falling out, and that's like the extent of it. That's the extent of
Okay.
the conversation.
I think she
out there.
can. I think that should be
I think
doable
she-
for her, but we'll see. We'll
I
see.
think she can do that as well, but if she can't,
But you
okay,
realize how like it feels like you're holding her hostage with this, right? Like holding this over her head.
yes,
Okay.
because I'm telling you that I'm going to retaliate if I hear that things are being talked about behind my back.
Yeah. But
Here's
if
the
but
thing.
but imagine in the future if somebody had come up on this chapter or somebody else had mentioned all of this public shit that you both have aired out now to Melina, you expect her to say, I can't really talk about it. We just had a bad falling out. Like you had
Yes,
such a hard
yes,
time with
I can do that.
cuckery.
I mean, I can do that.
Okay. All right.
She's already implied that there's fucked up things between me and Sushi, and like that she could leak, and that her mod that she talks to all the time, NNN, already said like, are you sure you want Melina to leak your relationship with Sushi? I'll leak it my fucking self, dog. Like you can't like I'm not gonna let you fucking sit there and go off on me. Like it's like, and she's already given the reciprocative thing, or at least she had someone speak for her. She wants to do this weird like telephone thing because she's a fucking baby. So it's like, yeah, no,
Okay.
I know it's like no, I've already been told the same exact thing relatively, not by her directly, but like she's like, actually no, by her directly. She's like, I could leak so much, but I'm not because I don't want them to leak my stuff. It's like, okay, then I'll leak it, then go ahead and leak my stuff. I promise
Okay,
you.
we don't need all of that. But yeah, let's not
No,
talk
no,
about
no,
that
no, no, no,
hypothetical.
Okay, yeah. No, I don't need all that, but like you get my point though. It's like if you want
Yeah.
to go ahead and you want to say that you're gonna do that, it's like that only makes when you say shit like that, it only makes me want to say it more because it thinks you have some power. You have none. And
Yeah.
that's like.
And to be
Okay.
clear, it's not okay for her to do that, not okay for you to do that. Like we don't want that happening. And yeah, okay. Have a good conversation with Relly again, and I'm going to DM him and like adamantly put the case forward to him not to go live with it, even if your dumbass tries to get him to do it, because like it's just not.
Yeah, I know he'll probably. I'm not gonna tell him what to do. He might just do that. But if you like I said, if you do that, and you can get Mel to say that she's not gonna do it anymore, that's dynamite to me.
Cool.
Just make that stipulation, and as long as you can just prove that she said that, I'm good to go.
I worry
need that.
this could be an Anna situation, and it's unlikely
I
that both
promise
of you will follow
the
it. But
the only thing that I get triggered by and want to respond genuinely super badly to is just when Melina says dumb shit and pretends like she has information on me that like would hurt me. It actually just pisses me off because that stuff doesn't exist, and I would implore her to go ahead and say that. Like I would tell you to say that even without me leaking stuff, just so I can just air that out and then go ahead and do what the fuck I want. So
okay,
it's
but
like,
one thing I do just want to like briefly bring up. So you're going to talk to Rowley behind the scenes about this stuff. Like, what is the kind of rules of engagement for this? Because obviously, if you're getting to talk with your friend about this and you're revealing details, whatever you're able to do in this conversation, she should also be able to do, right? That's fair.
yes, and I'd say if she wants to go ahead and talk to people behind the scenes about stuff, sure. Just make sure whoever you're talking to, you trust. The thing is, Melina just tells everybody everything. Like 8 other people know about the situation with fucking her and Steven recently that nobody should know. Nobody should know that because it's really fucked up. But like multiple people know that and they really shouldn't. And so it's like, so it's like me talking to my one friend about, I guess not even talking about my one friend. I'm not even gonna like leak him personal information. What I literally was gonna talk to him about was how my conversation with Destiny and how I can make my point make more sense and be understood more.
Gotcha.
Because like I do very poorly at not getting sidetracked and not having ADHD and like going on to another topic while I'm right on one, but I just move on.
Yeah,
At
and
Booksmarts, you have passed
and
the
so I
threshold.
would assume
I warn you, Booksmarts.
anything
Now you are
that
entangled
we
in this
hold on
drama.
this fucking
Your fate
TTS
inextricably linked to
is
this drama
annoying
now.
me. One sec. Okay, now it's done. I would assume anything that's been brought up on stream so far is probably okay to discuss. We just don't want to add more information to that pile, or is that not cool? Like
More information about what?
about this entire situation or about the relationship you two have had. Like if it's been discussed on stream, probably okay to bring it up with your friends and vent about it. But if it's like
I mean,
a bunch
like I
of
said, I'm not unironically like expecting her not to talk about her friends. What I'm saying
Oh,
is
okay.
like Melina just has a tendency to talk to literally everybody about everything, and then what happens is it ends up leaking out somehow or and someone ends up like mentioning it offhand, and then a whole bunch of other autism ensues. So what I'm just saying is like if I find out from like some other person that like this is happening because you guys have had a falling off and they decide to go out and reach out to me, or if I hear about it because I talked to this person and they randomly mention it, then I'm going to be incredibly incredibly frustrated. So just watch who you talk to. That's all. Because I know
Cool.
she doesn't do that. That's all.
Cool. All right. Sounds good. Well, enjoy your talk with Relly. I really hope you're able to like get past this. Enjoy your fucking dog, you know, the fucking start of all of this. I hope you can enjoy the relationship with him and no other problems in the future. And
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. And again, I apologize that this is all even on your biz. And I appreciate you even hearing me out. So thank you, and I appreciate you messaging Melina too. And if that comes to a conclusion where things are relatively quiet, again, I will reciprocate that as much as possible. So just as long as as long as it's reciprocated, I'm good to go. So,
yeah, I have the unfortunate reputation in DGG of being a snake, but like I honestly just like want people to get along, and I see myself in other people. And so if you need somebody who could just like hear you out, dude, like I know we're not close, but you know, I'm here.
for sure.
Nice talking
No,
to you.
yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, and I will definitely after this conversation, like I don't think you're giving me bad advice at all. I don't. I just again like I'm just it's not something that like my personality. Like I said, when you're telling me just like be the bigger man in these situations, almost it's like I when I don't deal with this stuff normally, this isn't something I have to deal with. When this stuff happens, my body is like, dude, just like respond, attack, defend, do whatever. Just don't let this fucking shit like continue forever.
I get you. I get you.
Yeah, so it's like like I said, when I see every time it's like it's unironically like frustrating me so much that like every time she says something stupid, I get more black pilled on like life. Like I sat there yesterday just like contemplating like why do I open up to anybody if like literally every single one of my fucking friends is just gonna end up like hurting me in the end, or they're gonna end up like taking one thing I did and then making that like the assumption for our entire friendship. Like how many friends do I have to go through in my life that are gonna be like, you know, that are gonna do stuff like this, like where like we're super close and then one day like something that they maybe misinterpret or something that's like uncomfortable for them happens and then like we're no longer friends and now everything else is like just gone. Like it's like
It'll happen again. Human's gonna human, you know.
yeah, what's the and then I guess like learning to accept that makes me feel awful. Like I don't want to live in a world like that, right?
Well, you do. You've managed.
Then that's like what the fuck is like what do I guess like, or it's like okay, then I'm like okay, then I just need to be to myself. That's where like I start to think like okay, like am I fucking incel now or something, like or am I gonna become like this like red pilled like just focus on myself Sigma grind set shit? That's where like that's where I'm like I get that's how people are. It's just like
now the Sigma thing is what Steven does, where he just accepts that people will leak shit and just lives his life with the knowledge of that. I think that's where you got to get to, you know. Yeah, it'll happen, and you never know who. Yeah, I can't let that ruin my whole fucking life or turn me into an inceller or a red pillar. I have to like maintain balanced understanding that fact because it's not going away, you know.
Yeah, I get that. I guess it's really hard to. I don't know. As someone who didn't have like a lot of family or anything growing up, like friends, even anything, and then like I finally like access that or have like friends that I would call like my best friends, have a fiance, all this shit. It's like if this is the world is about, then it's like it's not really like I don't know. It's not. It's like when I think about it, like really, it's like it doesn't really seem like I want to live in that.
Yeah,
not saying like I want to die, but it's like hard.
The cool thing is the world is like a big giant painting, a mural, and you're looking at a dark corner. You know, there are a bunch of dark parts of the portrait, but you got to look at the light ones and live in those, and that's how you get through it, you know?
Yeah, but then I need to make the things that give me light are like, yeah, I get it. Okay.
Well, you got your dog, right? Like you have stuff. You have Sushia. Like
yeah, my dog. It's like that's what I'm saying. Like if I lost my dog, I literally like. That's what I'm saying. Like my mental space is like I'm losing my best friend. I've lost my mother. I literally was on the verge of losing my fiance because me and her were literally talking about breaking up. Like I'm fucking like I lost my job. Like the one thing that I was able to keep me distracted from this dumb fucking autistic online shit. Like I'm like losing so much of the things that I had to like make me be able to have that light. And then it's like. Okay, like now that I've lost all those, I need to regain it again and then just do it all over again. Like, what the fuck is the point of that? You know? And it's the
point is to get out of the dark. You know, just got to keep on keeping on.
Well, I appreciate it, Booksmarts.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good rest of your day. I'll talk to you later.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Well, there you go. I'm sure that you guys think it pleasures me to be a part of these things. It doesn't really. The only pleasure I get out of this is really like if I can have some positive impact that I don't think like drama monger people will do. Like if you compare like the way I behave, and this isn't a knock on him, you know, because it helps with entertainment, but like with the way that Dan engages in something like this, right? Like I do just like not want Darius to drop stuff. I do want Melina like not to shit talk him behind the scenes. I do just like want them to maybe get back together like months in the future, and for him to explain himself to her and like, no, I didn't want to fuck you, and like I see you as a friend, and infatuation means this, and her to be like, in he already understands, I think, part of her perspective here about why it looked like he wanted to fuck her, and then when it didn't happen, you know, whatever. I just want everybody to understand each other and live a better life, and if part of that better life means they never ever interact again, then so be it, right? I just want him to find stuff that'll make him happy in life. And a sad thing that we kind of touched on at the end there, that I don't see people humanizing enough, because it's easy to focus on him being a retard or him fucking dropping all the plates he's trying to spin in life, or like any of the other things you could try to use to make fun of him. He's getting through a hard time, dude. Like he's got a lot going on in his life, and there are plenty of people like Darius out there that shit just keeps going wrong in their life. Part of it might be because of their decisions. Part of it might be fate fucking putting on the strap on and putting 12 inches in their ass, right? Tickling their kidney. You know, I could have easily.
I guess why DGG started hating on you, but you're a real one in my book.
Well, I'm lucky me you missed that. Yeah, like I could have easily been born in Darius's body, and nothing about my soul makes me any more special than Darius. I probably would have made it all the way up into this moment right here. Same with Melina. I could have been born in Melina's body and lived life all the way up until the moment that she's at right now. And that tiny bit of awareness that I could have been you, and I'm outside of this situation, and I could maybe offer some advice that if I were in those shoes, being somebody not like super invested right now, I'll just use that opportunity as much as I can to help that along, right? In a way that I think I would like it to work out if I were you, or I would like it to work out if I were Melina. And so that's all, you know? And that's what the channel kind of used to be focused on. Like, that's the reason why you should be more empathetic in a conversation. That's the reason why you should try to hold off on anger. That's the reason why you should keep in check emotions and stuff like that. That's the reason why you should generally just try and take someone at their word, even if there are liars out there, even if it can burn you, right? Like, you'll find some balance there depending on how many sharks are in the part of the ocean you're swimming in. If you're like Steven, you probably have to be a lot more defensive than like if you're somebody like me, right? Like, I'm not worried that Wicked Supreme is going to drop a bunch of shit on me to gain followers or some bullshit. I'm not worried IRI will tell people what racial slurs I use in private or some bullshit like that, right? Like, I don't really worry about this stuff because of the part of the ocean I live in the shallows, right? It's a lot tougher when you're in the deep. It's a lot tougher when you're Darius or when you're Melina or when you're Destiny. And I get that too, right? And insofar as that goes, my advice might come off as naive. But I think if you follow my advice, it'll lead you to safer waters, right? Right now, he's at a really, really dark part of the big painting that is life. And a lot of things are rough. And right now, things are probably getting rougher and rougher for Melina as well, having to deal with this stuff, right? And all I can do is just try to give them a compass heading that'll get them to safer waters. And that's all, right? I could have easily been where they are. And my only motivation is to just get him out of there, right? If this dude DMs me at fucking 2:00 in the morning and wants to talk about this shit, I would do it because I just want to help him out, right? Same with Melina. I'm about to write probably a big long thing to Melina right now. I'm sure she's not happy with parts of this. I'm sure I would hope that she's thankful for other parts of it, you know? And it is what it is, dude. I can only try to do what I think is best, right? So that is what it is, man. I hope you guys see that shit. I hope Melina and Darius and everybody else see that shit too. I think like we've had a really intense stream today. I think when I write my message to Melina, it'll probably be off stream. We've had a crazy stream today. I'll talk to you guys for a little bit and then I'll respond to Melina. I'll just let her know right now. Yeah, I mean, and it could end up like in Anna's situation where they do eventually end up dropping nukes on each other, and there was nothing that could have stopped it, and whatever, you know, it could end up that way, you know, it's just whatever. And if you keep DMing me, I'm not going to be able to answer what you're telling me. I'm going to try to talk to you guys at the close of the stream, okay? And then I'll try to go handle this stuff. Milking Booksmarts. He is literal a cartoon character to me. Who, Darius? Well, I mean, he's relatable to a bunch of people. I'm sure you see yourself in him. Did not expect to see a Darius, Melina, Steven drama stream when I started watching. I didn't when I started streaming either. But here we are, dude. Booksmart securing his place in heaven right now. You know, I don't really believe in heaven. I think we kind of just keep going through this shit over and over and over again. So, you know, if there is a key to getting out, I'm sure it's making the best decisions. So I'll just keep trying to make the good decisions over and over. And I might be wrong. My idea of what a good decision is might be wrong. It could be that I made some missteps in this conversation that makes things worse. Could be, man. I'm trying to go through murky water as best I can. I am a little fish, a little stingray from the shallows. Okay. So when I'm trying to give advice to people in the murky depths, it's a bit tough. Hey, Bucky, just want to say I love your content. You seem like a very likable person. Well, I'm happy you think so, dude. Bro, I'm right there with you. I had a bunch of shit happen to me too recently. Yeah, I mean, we all go through this shit, dude. And it's tough to expect Darius to like make all the right decisions when so much shit's going wrong in his life and he's so emotional and shit, right? That's why, like, I kept telling him, man, you know, distance from this. You just got to keep moving on. And once you find other things in your life to latch onto that are good for you, it might be easier to kind of come to terms with what happened to this one. You know what I mean? And it could be he doesn't need Melina anymore at that point, and he has a good relationship with his soon-to-be wife or with other people, or finds another best friend. And then it's like, man, what do I care about this Melina thing? It's like, if you think back to like what happened in grade school with like a best friend or something that you had a falling out with, like how much does that matter in retrospect now, right? Like I have so much other shit going on. You couldn't even make me spend the energy to think about anywhere close to the level of like emotional insecurity I had about an event that happened way back then, right? Distance helps with a lot of stuff. Darius do be opening up. Well, you know, humans gonna human and demons gonna demon, right? Men do what men do and women do what women do. Ain't that the truth? Noah Snake would say, tss. I mean, I do have a bit of a lisp. I want people to get along. That's what a snake would say, though. Didn't believe in magic until I saw my dog turn into a snake. Nice. You are aiding in Darius' self-harm and are part of him publicly wilding out. Maybe, but I feel like I'm trying to rein it in a little bit more than the other people that I feel like are taking advantage of him. Like, like what did I get out of this? How many donations have we had? I made like $10, right? Like I could have done anything else to try and push stuff and get more, fucking money and whatever. It's just like the moment he comes on, man, it's about him. I'm not focused on you guys. I'm not focused on these alerts or anything else. Like it's just about, all right, the dude's here. Let's talk to him. Let's like work through this. That's fair. It's a two-way street. Both play by the rules. It won't work though, because the first person to turn on the other person wins. It's basically the prisoner's dilemma. Yeah, it's the tough part, man. But you never know. I mean, I honestly do believe it's setting up a losing situation, but we'll see, dude. I think the bigger advice is for him to just get some distance from this and live his life and take a step back, man. Because I hate to say this, man, but like Melina has the infrastructure on her side. Melina has like the audience sizes on her size. She has the financial ability to deal with stuff. Like, that is definitely like a losing fight. That's like invading Russia in the winter type shit. Like there is no situation where you like accomplish any reasonable goals going into that. You just hope you hurt somebody in the process of like losing everything. And I just don't think that that's a gambit that we want to be doing. Thanks, Neandra. Thank you for the $5. Time will either cure or ruin people. That is for sure. Yeah, sure. What is your honest opinion of Shark's book? They're scary, but I think we get scared of stuff that does way better than us in nature, right? We're scared of monkeys. Monkeys will fuck us up. We're scared of anything in the water that is good at being in the water, which sharks are, right? So they're scary, but luckily we don't live in the water, so it's easy to appreciate them from a distance. I think that's what we should do. Booksmarts, I do not think you're a snake. I just think after a certain point in the conversation, it was irresponsible for you to continue having him on. Sure. Although I did try to end this. I mean, it took maybe almost 3 hours, but I feel like it could have gone on a lot longer if that was my intention was to be snaky. But yeah, I mean, it's tough because he's emotional and he's got the ADHD pulling him in every direction. He's probably reading other chats, it's tough putting the brakes on something like that. And I don't want to just do it abruptly and hang up on him, even though he's obviously just going to be going around on streams anyways. I hope he doesn't. He might. I don't know him well enough to know if he's going to or not. I don't know if he's like an Anna. All I can do is hope, right? That's all I've got. Luckily for me, it doesn't really involve me too much. So there aren't a lot of consequences if he does keep going with it. But, all we can do is fucking hope. It's the same thing for Melina. All Melina can do is hope, right? And not try to instigate this anymore. Does she have the advantage, really? She got destroyed on Reddit. I don't know. The Reddit's... I think if you judge something based on the DGG Reddit, you're misguided a little bit with that. That's when you take a page from Mr. Girl's book and just say, this is irresponsible. I'm cutting you off now and have to be a dick. I mean, I just don't feel like we hit that point with him the way we do with Bob 7. If you remember, and maybe I'm just a Melina simp, dude. I don't know. But if you remember with the Bob 7 thing, that's exactly what we did. Like, dude, if you're not going to answer my questions, you're just going to keep going on diatribes and shit. I'm not having you on here, right? Like, I'm not going to continue this shit, dude. So, I don't know, bro. Not that got me a lot of praise given the whole of the coverage. I think most people focused on me saying manipulate more than they did anything to do with that, which is unfortunate, but that's the way the internet works. So, maybe my people will remember that, but everybody that hates me doesn't. And that's a huge number of people now too. That's the other thing is like, I've been so pooped out on people online hating me that at this point, it's just like, I really feel for Darius and I really feel for Melina. Like when people start hating on you, it fucking sucks. And it doesn't ever go away. At least in my experience, it just keeps going. People are going to keep thinking whatever awful thing they learned about you. And unfortunately, the only way I've found that gets fixed is like somebody sees a stream that they like of mine and they flippantly change their opinion, or like they have a talk with me and they end up liking me and change their opinion. Like I've had talks with people on the DGG Discord and they've been like, oh, I didn't know that was Booksmarts. The voice was familiar. I actually thought you were like a bit of an asshole, but I haven't seen much. And like, that changed my opinion of you and whatever. Like that's basically like the only two ways that things will get fixed is they had some other interaction with me. But for the vast majority of people that saw the bad thing that took off or heard somebody talk shit about me, they're just going to believe that. And when you're small and everybody else is a lot bigger, that's gonna be what it's gonna be, right? So I'm just trying to be better to not give people the ammo for that shit, dude. I've been in Darius's position recently. It's very hard to calm down when you're in that headspace. I started looping in school. It made it hard because I had to be there every day. Yeah, man, it's rough. I love DGG, but if they saw that interaction and have serious criticism, I feel they are an individual chatter with a brain cell deficit and or personal bias against you. I don't think that. I think you could have reasonable criticisms. Like, I like if you think it should have ended sooner, okay, fair enough. Like, I do wish I was able to end it sooner. I tried to end it sooner. If you don't think that I picked up on something that I missed, I'm not going to remember what it is that I missed because by definition, I missed it, right? So when I have a conversation, I don't assume everybody will like it, right? Because I have blind spots. And if I miss something and that's your criticism of me, I missed it in the conversation. So I won't even think to observe it as a mistake, right? So no, I keep the door open that there might be something I missed that I fucked up on, right? But you know, from my perspective on the whole, I don't think it went that bad. I do remember, lol, I think you handled that a little better. It's chill though. You ain't no snake. I just disagree. Big feels. Okay, cool. Oh, I didn't know you were literally Hitler incarnate. All right. Jesus. No, I can feel you wanted to end it sooner. It was pretty clear you were trying to wind down. You just needed to be more strict with your boundaries. Fair enough. He's a good guy. It's not like with the Bob 7 thing, right? Anywho, hi, Amaranth. Good to have you here. But you're joining at a time where we're just about to close up. So that's all. I'll talk to you guys later. I hope you've had a fun time. It's been a very serious conversation, but there you go. You get that for a change. I was going to do call-ins and stuff, but now I'm fucking pooped out, dude. And I haven't eaten all day. Oh, fuck. I haven't eaten all day, and it's 9:59 p.m. Jeez. I don't know how a fat fuck like me doesn't realize they haven't eaten all day. Jesus Christ. Anywho, I'm going to go get food, and I'm going to message Melina and then put pressure on Relly not to stream whatever conversation they have. Okay, so while I do my snaky shit behind the scenes, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, your night, your morning. Thanks for spending time with me. And if you're watching the VOD, I do love you. Leave a like. Let me know what you liked or disliked down below in the comments. I do unfortunately still read them. And, you know, when they're nice, I do enjoy hearing back from you guys. And when it's insightful criticism that shows some understanding of what I was talking about, maybe even a compliment sandwich, wink, wink, wink. Those are the ones that I take seriously. I like that too, honestly. So if you got a complaint, pack it between two nice round buns of a very nice thing about me, and I'll be sure to read it and treat it with respect. Thank you so much. Have a good one. I'll talk to you guys later. And yep, snake out.